Welcome, everyone, to Nerd Rage Gaming Thursday Night Locals. My name is Dan Hugar. I am here with Brian DeVeza. We are way too close to the camera, and it's awesome to be here, Brian.
Yeah, I know. We were just talking about this before the cameras went live about how, like, we're actually having fun playing now.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
new format, and we're just excited to be here. You know, off-season time, but still a fun time to play.
So that's actually the nice part. And by the way, this is Thursday Night Locals, Pokemon TCG. Great to have you here. But yeah, right now in like our format for Pokemon, it's fun.
It's fun.
The decks are interesting. They're actually interactive.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, new set will definitely do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes a new set does that.
Yeah.
Luckily for this set, it brought us Grimmsnarl, which is just a cool deck in general.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very big surprise deck, I think.
It is. So it requires some complex play, which is wonderful to see.
Yeah.
And then other than that, there weren't a ton of new additions except for Shaman, which actually kind of decreased the power of some of those blow them up or run them over decks, which
definitely
is awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's a cool thing too to see that a new set, first event of the new set, and one of the big new archetypes top cuts the event with the Grimmsnarl. I feel like it's been a while since there's been like a...
So sometimes, and I feel like it's so 50-50. Recent formats, the new sets that came out weren't really that good, so it just tacked on to what was already there. But previously, like when Dragapult's probably a bad example, because that came out, it wasn't much, and then became super powerful. Guardy, though, was good immediately.
Yeah, good immediately.
Arceus, like, defined the format immediately. So
yeah, I feel like Terrapagos may have been the most recent one.
Yes.
Yeah, but that feels like a while ago.
It was. It actually wasn't, but it does feel that way.
Yeah.
We've just been playing in Guardy's World for a long time.
Yeah, it's almost over.
I know, exactly. Bryce, can we see all the comments? Because I see a new one over there and none over here.
Yeah.
Just seeing.
Uh,
Anyway, as
yeah.
Bryce is doing that, which by the way, Bryce, thank you for being awesome and helping us out with this. It's always helpful. But for today, we are playing Pokemon and we're talking about Pokemon.
Yes.
But we have our locals. Nothing crazy. We got 4 rounds, some good stuff, and almost everyone here is actually preparing for our invitational on Sunday.
Yeah, so it's really exciting that the invitational is happening.
Yeah,
that we're actually able to put on an event like this, and it's cool that there's a lot of people that are mixed, taking it really seriously. A lot of people coming to have fun, so it's cool that this whole long season's kind of coming and into an end, and we're gonna have this big event for it.
for sure. And so we may mention this online, but $500 store credit is up for winning, and then we also have a trophy, which is pretty sick.
Yeah,
So
trophy.
And regardless, so we're going to be on at 10 a.m. on Sunday for this tournament. It'll be however many rounds of Swiss, like we have for that many people. I think it'll be 5. And then a round of asymmetrical cup because we do not like bubbles, and we want to avoid the bubble. All of those will be best of 1, followed by best of 3 top cut. Which, I mean, it's just cool to have an ASIM round in any tournament so you don't get kind of screwed over by a bubble.
Yeah, definitely. And it's cool, too, because, I mean, it's just some people just want to play more. And just giving them the opportunity to do that is really good.
And I think it also makes it more interesting and encourages everyone to play it out.
Yes.
So rather than it be like, Scoop, I can't make it, like, no, play for it because there is a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Brian, we are getting into our rounds today. I know you said some people are playing for fun. Some people are just going to kind of try hard. Like, is there something you would expect to see come out of the weekend that would be a good one?
I would think that there's going to be, I feel like Dragapult is going to kind of come away with it. Yeah.
I could see that. It's just a good deck.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, if we were able to see that Bradner Tord matchup in the finals for NEIC, it could have made a good,
Well, I actually
matchup.
lovingly disagree on that one because I think Slowpoke just gets obliterated by anything Gardevoir related.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it can do pretty well in other stuff.
But it's Tord at the end of the day.
It is Tord. It is very much Tord. I will say, actually, though, I agree. And so we were talking a bit before the stream started. But Dragapult overperformed wildly in NAIC.
Which is crazy, too, because I feel like it's always the big bad in the room.
Yeah.
And it kind of blew everything else out of the water, definitely.
And I know for some people who watch, they're like, Dan, what are you talking about? Gardevoir won. You're correct. And 2 or 3 of the top 4 spots were Gardevoir. And there were actually like 5 or 6 Gardevoir in top 32.
Yeah.
And there were like 18 Dragapult in top 32, which is insane. I'm rounding maybe hard, but like for a deck that was 13% of the tournament to have more than 50% of top 32, dude, that's wild.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it was divided up into a couple different archetypes. You had the Slowpoke, you had the Pultzard, and you had the Dusknoir.
Yes.
But still, it just shows how versatile of an engine that it is.
It is so cool, and it's such a strong card that there are so many different ways you can build around it. It's my favorite card. I love it. And we were just talking a little bit before. You've been playing the Dragapult Charizard.
Yeah, the Pultzard's super cool. I don't know. It's just like Charizard's kind of like a archetype that I kind of lean on.
Yeah.
And being able to kind of play that again, it's definitely like a way for me to have fun. So it's a really good archetype. It's got a lot of really strong pieces for it, and I hope to kind of see it today so we can kind of talk about it a little bit more.
I would love to. I know a couple people are playing it, but yeah, it kind of handles the disadvantages of both.
Yeah.
So Charizard just hits the active, which is good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And Dragapult can spread and set up really cool turns, but you always cap at 200 damage, which is not enough to really reach late game. So why not spread and set up all your crazy combos and then just straight up murder whatever comes in the active late in the game?
Yeah.
Like, that seems good.
Yeah, definitely does. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff to look forward to into this meta, and get ready for the world's meta here too.
Agreed. And so we are getting into our first game playing or seeing one of those decks, Gardevoir, like we talked about. Alex has been playing it a ton and going into all of playing Zoro Bridge. And starting off with Alex here, I mean, Brian, you're the expert on Guardy. Walk it through. What's turn 1?
Yeah, turn 1 is always, I mean, going first, it's not ideal, but just being able to get a couple Ralts on the board is always the biggest thing. If you're able to kind of get those Ralts going, maybe a Monkey Dory, that's really the best that you can kind of ask for. Just trying to see what Alex can kind of get here. It's not the most ideal way to start turn 1, but with the pieces that Alex was given, I mean, got a decent start.
I mean, we got a Ralts down, which is really good because then it makes it a lot easier for Alex to pursue the game plan.
Yeah.
Now on Olive's side, we do get two baby bridges down, and we
Yep.
get two Zorua down. So that already is a really good
Oh,
start.
absolutely. And it's going to be a big priority for Alex to get something else on this board because as soon as that Archaludon comes into play, that Pheasantipity is going to get knocked out.
I give all of the memo on what Stellar Wish.
Yes.
Bryce, did I just miss that one? That's fine. But okay, and so we actually get 3 Zorua down for Olive, which is fantastic off the Artisan.
Months ago.
It's retro at this point. But with those like that board, Olive has a really strong start because she's going to be able to go into turn 2, hopefully having a big bridge in the active, and then a bunch of Zoroark on the bench to keep drawing. And so, Brian, we see, I think, a Pokegear in hand for Olive. What's the ideal supporter for her?
So usually anyone would want to see turn 1 Arven into the Precious Trolley, but with how many Pokemon are already on the bench, I mean, Arven's still probably pretty good here, but I feel like you can kind of get with anything here. The Iona's pretty solid, too. I feel like just any sort of way for you to draw some more cards so you can get some of those energy into the discard, draw into Archaludon. That's kind of the few things you kind of want to see.
100%. And if, like, Olive does happen to see an Evo off of this, fantastic, but even getting a full board like this, she plays a ton of outs to get the evolutions in her deck, so it's going to hopefully be pretty easy to find them if she gets like a fresh set of 6 cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, for Alex's side, they're probably not going to mind seeing that Iono since that's pretty much all that they're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely enjoying to see that because, I mean, Alex definitely needs some new cards in hand.
And that could maybe be a thought for Olive of, do I really want to give them new cards?
Yeah.
Oh, and we do see a Black Belt, couple Zoroarks, not an Arven.
Not an Arven.
So then, is it worth it to play the Iono?
I would still say so. I think Alex is shuffling up that hand there, getting ready for it.
Yes.
So I would still say it is worth it.
Kat, I agree. I think the list that Ben, Ryan, and Olive played is really good. Ben actually managed to get top 128 at NAIC, which...
Our boy Kevin played it too.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think Kevin and Ryan had a little bit less of a good day. Kevin just had some bad luck at the end of the day.
He did, but, you know, he pieced together. He was starting to piece together a comeback. We were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, but kind of did their best. So
and we see the TM Evo, exactly. And Stellar Wish, it does nothing better. It just does it more often, and that is a wildly important thing over the course of a big tournament.
Yes, definitely. So Alex here having a Monkey Dory. That Screamtail's kind of coming down here. TME. There's no TM Evo. I thought I saw Evo there.
No, but there is a research.
Yeah, the research is pretty
good.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. At least try to get some of those energies into the discard. Get started with that.
So the only thing I would have liked to see for Alex is to actually use that Artisan first, because there was a Gardevoir and a Curly on the bottom of the deck. But we could actually see a TM Evo here and get that Pheasantipity out of the active, which would be great.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully, hope to see that start here. Having the Earthen Vessel is also pretty solid here as well, just because being able to combine that with the Ultra Ball, just to get more energy into the discard, really helps.
Agreed. And so I believe Alex is playing Isaiah Bradner's list. With
I saw the
Dark and the E-Switch.
Yeah, I saw the E-Switch, yeah. I believe that's the one. And it's an interesting list. I feel like that list is a little too big brain for me, but it's a very cool list. It was funny because one of the other Discords that I was in, someone was talking about how to start playing Guardy, what's a good list to start doing it with, and everyone was kind of saying it's like try it was Riley second place.
Yeah, list. Riley McKay.
Yeah, which has a pretty similar engine to Michael Davidson's list that he won Portland with.
And Michael Davidson also a pretty solid player,
But solid.
That is one thing with Guardy. It is interesting. The Brixie or Brent Tonneson list just dominated for so long, and then now there's a lot of players going to different versions and different types on the list.
Yeah, it's cool to see just because it shows versatility at the end of the day, which is what a lot of archetypes kind of like to have. Just because it means that there's different ways that you can kind of play the deck. It's kind of like we saw it with how we were talking about earlier with Dragapult. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of say the same thing with Zoroark EX too.
And that's we're going to get to Zoroark in a moment. Yeah. Yes, I agree. I think that's good to build on. But for Guardy, the core of the engine is the same. You still use Gardevoir EX to accelerate the energy. You have low HP attackers that turn out to do a huge amount of damage based on their own damage attached, and use Monkey Door to fix math. And all of that is good. But because it's so powerful, if you can find the best way to use it, you're going to be in a great spot.
Yeah, absolutely. So Olive going through her turn here. A couple trades coming down. I see an Archaludon in the hand, so she will be able to start attacking, but wanting to see if she can get that early 2-prize lead.
Which she will be able to
Yeah.
if she wants to.
Yes.
And this is where it's tough in Guardy because Guardy does not mind playing from behind. So even if you're aggressive, that may not be the best thing to win the game.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing just because a lot of people, they try to go straight into that early lead, but, especially into this deck, it's kind of hard to determine if that's the most optimal play.
And so that's where something like this Zoroark bridge deck is kind of at an advantage because Guardy can win a lot of times by kind of sticking your opponent, even like it did in the past, fall behind, stick your opponent, set up checkmate plays. With Olive's going to get to see 6 cards each turn on top of whatever draw supporter she has. So there's not a lot that Alex or anyone's going to do to stick her late game. And we do see the Gust on the Fez and the, Metal Defender attack. I mean, that's a quick 2 prizes.
That is a quick 2 prizes. It's got to be the right play. Olive's a good player.
I assume so. But also, kind of looking at it, taking a single prize knockout there without something like exciting or something Alex put a lot of investments to put on the board, I mean, going after the Fez has to be correct there.
Definitely. So the Fez coming back with the Night Stretcher.
And also, Olive's got to feel good about that because Night Stretcher is a very limited, precious resource for Alex.
Definitely. So Alex is looking to use that counter catcher now.
Yes.
And hopefully looking to stall something in the active here.
And Alex does have the Ultra Ball for Gardevoir EX, so we can use that Screamtail to snipe. But we're not really doing a ton of damage.
Yeah, there's nothing yet that really shows a really crazy knockout yet. There's not going to be that kind of big 2 prize kind of knockout yet.
Right.
But, start spreading some of the damage along with the Monkey Dory. We'll kind of be able to, start putting some pressure on Olive's board.
And so on that note, this is one where I think I would have liked to see Alex go into the Gardevoir EX rather than the Screamtail. Because being able to retreat off those psychic energies and have damage on the board could enable Olive to reach on like a bench knockout with the Screamtail. But now we've got the energy on the active with no damage on it. We're not going to be able to put that in the discard or attack with anything crazy except for Gardevoir. So Alex is unfortunately in a spot where they can attack, but I don't know if it's a good attack right now.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing it right now, but I mean, this is a slow deck, so it's going to be one of those things where you kind of have to, just take it as you go. I don't know if this might be is this a turbo energized kind of play?
It may be. And honestly, I don't mind that at all.
I don't mind it either.
Because you can get 2 darks on your Monkey Dories, and suddenly, like, your manual attachments, you have so much more flexibility going forward.
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely an interesting play, and it's a really cool and innovative tech card that, Isaiah Bradner and group kind of were able to bring to NAIC.
Well, and I will say, like, again, I feel like I'm a pretty good player. I'm not the best deck builder, but wow, I would have never thought to cram that in this list.
Never would have thought about it. Yeah.
And so it looks like we're not actually seeing the Accelerate. What we are going to see is an attack, and we are putting Wait, hold up. If we moved 3, we should have 5 on there.
So it's 7. There's no.
Olive is currently doing the math. Yeah, so we should have 5 on there because we put 8 down.
Oh, okay. I think it was just
just put one. Just one. Okay, perfect. All right, so we do see the knockout by Alex. Alex goes to 5 prizes remaining. Olive now has a Turo in hand.
Olive does have a Turo in hand.
And that is problematic for Alex because that stall play is not going to do a whole lot.
Yes.
All right, so we see the first trade. And then, so Brian, with that Turo, like, what is Olive's line here?
I think Olive just wants to use all the trades first to kind of, figure out what kind of plays that she can kind of go with, and then go with that Turo play right after, just to see, what kind of resources in hand, anything like that. Get that Zoroark out of the active.
Yeah.
And then just, go back with that punch again with the Archaludon.
And I think going into Archaludon is not bad here. I actually think I'd like to see her go into
Oh, yeah, the
Duraludon.
Duraludon would be really good here too.
Going into the bridge. Okay, so why do you think Olive chose to go in with bridge rather than baby bridge?
I mean, there might not be energy and like that could be used. Um, but yeah, I do agree with you. I think going into the Duraludon is probably the more optimal play here.
And so the only reason I say is because the 30 damage is going to be plenty to knock out the Scream Tail, and you don't have a chance of Alex reaching for big KO. But I also say that, and there's very little in Alex's deck that can reach because the Bradner list does not play Drifloon.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those things that it really shows how much skill you need to have to play this deck because Drifloon is just such a versatile Pokemon, and being able to kind of reach some of these big knockouts without the Drifloon really says a lot about how you need to play.
Agreed. And the Monkey Dory is essential for that to fix
Yeah,
math.
definitely.
All right, so then going into Alex's turn, we do see the Earthen Vessel get some more energy out of the deck. Gardevoir into the active, which I really like. And then we actually only have, I think, one Psychic left.
Yeah, it's not looking like there's too many resources left, but Alex did do a good job of getting a lot of those psychic energies into the discard.
Yes, agreed. And we still have the Ultra Ball, too, to go get another Gardevoir EX if we want.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good idea just because, Gardevoir EX can be, as soon as it leaves play, can be a very, very hard Pokemon to put back into play. But it looks like there's not another Gardevoir EX right now because I think it's in the discard pile from that turn 1 or turn 2 research.
It may be. I think it actually may be prized.
Yeah.
I didn't see it turn 2, but I could
Yeah.
also be blind.
Yeah.
But regardless, we got 3 monkeys.
Yeah.
That is a whole lot of monkeys.
Yeah, 3 monkeys. It's a lot.
And so this is an issue for Olive because Scardy's weak to dark.
Yes, and the Iono's coming down here. Olive did have a very big hand, so going down to something a little bit smaller, but I mean trade kind of kind of takes away that precious Iono.
It does. And that's something we talked about early is Olive's board is so sustainable because she can just clear cards out of her hand, draw more.
Yeah.
And it's that first part actually I think that matters the most is Olive is thinning cards out of her deck every time she draws more. That was why Zoroark EX was so powerful. There's a lot more to it. But being able to thin and draw is better than just draw.
Yeah, just because there are going to be a lot of times where you're just going to draw into a bunch of cards that you don't really need, but being able to just draw into more stuff that you kind of need, much better.
Yeah, agreed.
So we're seeing the Monkey Dory coming down, the damage.
What do you think of that, Brian?
I don't know. Not really. Don't totally agree on it. I kind of would have liked just to see like the Guardy Punch.
All about that. I don't actually know how to say the last part. We haven't recently, but I wouldn't mind. It could be a good summer thing to do.
Yeah, and I know last year trying to do some of the summer stuff like expanded and GLC, and it was kind of mixed.
Yeah.
With the turnout and stuff like that, but I feel like GLC is just one of those formats that's kind of really always kind of fun that people always are enjoying to play. Yeah.
Agreed. And honestly, all about if you're interested, shoot us a message. If there's a good week where you think it'd be fun to do, we can do it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm on board.
I'm on board with that too.
All right, so we do see the trade of the Arven. We see a Palpad, another Zoroark. I mean, Olive's burning through her deck.
Yeah, another trade's going to come down too with that next Zoroark that just went down as well. So I'm wondering to see if this is just going to be another punch to the Monkey Dory here, or maybe see if we can try to reach for one of the ones on the bench here.
So I think Olive has the advantage of being on odd prizes. Like you said, just knocking out this Monkey Dory is fine.
Yeah, that is one of the nice things too, because I mean now it's not like the worst thing in the world to just take a one prize knockout, even just because it's just going to put you back onto even, and you can kind of close out the game with anything else like that Fez or anything like that.
The other good thing is, I believe Olive has an Ultra Ball in hand. She could go ahead and just manually retreat that bridge with the the rescue board in her hand.
Yeah.
For only 1 energy, go in with another Duraludon and take a knockout. But this is, Brian, is exactly why I think we wanted to see Olive go in with the Duraludon. Because this monkey play is not available to Alex if there's a Duraludon in the active, not a bridge.
Exactly. Yeah, just because now more of this damage is just spread around the board here, and it gives more tools for Alex to kind of play around with in the following turns.
Exactly. And now, granted, Alex would get back on even prizes by knocking out a baby Duraludon, but that doesn't really matter too much here.
Yeah.
Because Olive is in the driver's seat, especially with that Pheasantipity down.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be something that Alex is going to have to think about for the rest of the game here is how much of a liability that Fez is. Even with the Bravery Charm, it's not totally safe just because the Black Belt's training exists.
It does. And so it's going to be very hard for Olive to both Gust and Black Belt. But does this deck play Jamming Tower?
It does. I believe so.
And so that's the big kicker here because Olive can still take 2 prizes on it.
Yes, definitely.
And hilariously, Olive could Gust it, hit it, and then if there's not enough monkeys, just knock it out with Jamming Tower later.
Definitely. Ooh, the Iono.
The Iono. And that is the perfect time for Olive to use that because she's not going to want to draw just 2 cards going forward this game.
Yeah, and it's also like a really big advantage as well because the previous turn Alex used Secret Box, so there's a lot of pieces that he's looking to use in the following turns. So being able to kind of disrupt those cards, put those to the bottom, is a really big advantage for Olive as well.
It is. And Cat, yes, Jamming Tower is definitely the most aggressive one there because the Ends Castle can help you. It's a support.
Yeah.
But Jamming Tower can literally take you prizes against something like Gardevoir.
Yeah, definitely. And it's it really helps when it's going to be a deck that you need to like really up trade into.
Yes.
And being able to just take that extra prize could be a win or a loss situation.
So in this case, the only way Jamming Tower is going to help Olive is by allowing that knockout on that Fez because that's the only tool in the deck.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so then for Alex, I guess, Brian, how's Alex getting back into this game?
Yeah, so I think Alex needs to get back into the game with like some sort of multiple prize knockout. It's going to be really hard to.
Dreamer, that may be, yes.
Yes.
But go ahead, Brian, sorry.
Yeah, I feel like if you're able to get, some sort of like third monkey kind of with an energy kind of play on there, taking like a knockout into that Duraludon into the bench, as well as getting a 2-prize knockout as well. That could be one of the big ways to get back into the game. But I feel like at the bare minimum, Alex needs to take one of these Duraludons out of play, or one of the Archaludons out of play as well.
So one thing that Alex does have as an advantage here is Olive's down a Turo, down a Palpad. There could be an opportunity for Alex to stick something. The only issue is Alex has thinned down their deck way more than Olive has.
Yeah, it's very, very thin. It's crazy to think, too, because Olive's been trading a lot each turn. So being able to just keep the deck at the state that it is with the amount of trading that she's been doing, it's pretty solid.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons why Alex has been able to dig so aggressively, and this like
Olive is absolutely aura farming.
Olive is not too bad. She's doing great here. But so Alex has just played multiple research, and as much like at trading as Olive has done, she didn't discard a hand and draw 7. So like being able to play Gardevoir and just burn through your deck is so powerful.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because I remember when we had our little team meeting, and you were asking Kev and Ryan how this matchup was. And I just remember Kev saying that it's just off of vibes. You were just you kept asking like what the lines were and stuff like that, and the one answer we kept getting is it's only vibes.
And I will tell you, it was incredibly unhelpful feedback.
Yes, it was very unhelpful.
Tells me absolutely nothing. But I guess Olive is vibing. Is that it?
Gotta be.
She's doing great, and Alex is not feeling the vibes right now because things are going poorly over there.
Yeah.
Is this another monkey play?
That's what I was thinking. That's like part of the thing I was really thinking is like you kind of have to. I feel like do like some sort of triple monkey play, like to just put more damage on the board. You're gonna have to kind of put way more energy on the board than you kind of would like to, but that's one of the only ways that you're kind of going to reach onto that Duraludon plus the Archaludon.
Well, and that's the other tricky thing. There is a baby Duraludon on the board, but Alex does have to take 5 prizes still.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jolly, crushing. You know what?
Crushing hammer.
Any deck where you discard draw your whole deck over the course of a couple turns, you can put whatever you want in there.
Yeah,
definitely. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we see the Guardy go in, 40 on both the 20 on the Curlia, 40 on the Guardy. We're going to see, I think, just an attack here, but we'll be able to move all of that damage off.
Yeah, which definitely helps because um, like the Archaludon really needs to reach in order to really, knock out the Gardevoir. But being able to kind of just move everything will definitely help.
And we do see the knockout. So Alex goes down to even prizes, and we'll be able to hit 190. We're going to have 110 health remaining. Excuse me. We're going to have 100 health remaining.
Yep.
We are very, very close to being able to clear that with 3 monkeys.
Yep, definitely. So that's looking like the play here.
But all Olive needs to find with that jamming tower is a boss's orders.
Yep.
Oh, do we
there.
have Turo, we have black belts.
The Fez, there's a Fez.
We could Fez.
Yeah.
Is that aggressive?
I feel like the Fez is okay.
Jolly, honestly, hammers may not be terrible into Guardy to clear dark energy.
Yeah.
Because Guardy's really reliant on Monkey Dory.
Definitely. There's no way to accelerate really those dark energies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Outside of the original like TM like acceleration, but you only get to do that once. You really don't want to do that turns 3 or 4.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, Brian, if it was me, I don't see a downside to Fez here.
Yeah, I don't see a downside to Fez either here. And I feel like if you whiff, there's no there's no downside to just, playing Turo and then just trying to maybe punch into the Guardy EX.
Agreed. And so because there isn't a clean way for Alex to take like 4 prizes next turn, that bridge does not have enough damage on it.
Yeah.
Like Olive's got some leeway. Also, if Olive whiffs the boss or Pokegears, which to be clear, in that like 8-card deck, there's 2 Pokegear and a boss.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty easy to kind of it'll take a lot to whiff because I feel like you kind of there's a lot of pieces you have to work with.
Agreed. And also, even if she does, we see a gear. We see all right. So then gear for the entire deck. We see the boss,
and then let's see that jamming tower.
We see the jamming tower, and that is game for Olive. Bridge taking down allegedly the best deck in format.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
It is definitely kind of cool. I mean, Alex did start pretty slow, and going first as Guardy is never really a good feeling, but very clean play from Olive overall.
Agreed. Yes. I completely agree with Olive. And we get to our second game where we have Steven playing Pengo.
Yeah.
I hate that name, but Goldengo Dragapult and against Guardy.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of Guardy guys.
There's a lot of Guardy. I mean, Mo, resident team member, He's the one who tells like that who really advocates for Guardy.
Yes, he does.
Out of everyone on the team, he's the one who advocates for more.
One could say.
Yes.
But yes. All right, so we do see Steven playing out the turn. We have a Metal Energy. We have a Goldengo and 2 Metal, Goldengo in the active, a Drifloon in the active for most. We are not playing the Bradner version.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Brian, Steven's position seems pretty good here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Goldengo been one of the big Pokemon and like during this rotation so far. It's definitely been placing really well. It's kind of fallen off a little bit, but it's definitely been one of the hotter decks going into the last couple formats. So it's really cool to see that it's still really hanging on in there. It's a fan favorite as well.
100%. And so Steven, I think, is in a pretty advantageous position. So beating up on prizes is obviously lovely. That Fez is certainly a liability.
Yeah, and I think Mo's looking to take advantage of that as a potential multi-prize turn.
Agreed. But so we do have a boss for Steven.
Ooh.
And that is wonderful for him because that's weak to metal.
It is weak to metal, yep.
And so we do see the Superior come down. I mean, Brian, though, I would really, really like to see some bit of a stronger board set up by Steven, but this may just be where we're at.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see what else was kind of like in Steven's hand as well, just because sure you take like the really big knockout here, but you kind of need to have more to work with here.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't have too much.
No, we have nothing. So we do get a manual attach down. Wow, that hand is horrible.
Yeah. Not looking too good here.
And honestly, in this case, I agree with using the Gust, and we did not need to get rid of all of those.
We did not need to.
We did 400 damage.
Yeah, but I feel like at a certain point, too, it's kind of better to kind of have a lot of those energies sitting in the discard as well, because it's sometimes easier to kind of get them out of the discard instead of drawing into them.
And that's a really good point. So it keeps your deck thin of stuff, which is beneficial.
Yes.
All right, and so Mo has... Wait. Oh, we just Night Stretchered for the monkey. Okay.
Yep. No cards in hand. Ooh, this is good to see now.
No, that's not great because that's nothing.
Yeah.
We get the dark energy, which is huge, and we will be able to, I believe, knock out that Fez and then maybe reach for the Goldango, but I think we're hoping to hit something good off the prizes.
Yeah. I think that's what we're looking to do first here. Ooh,
We
another
see a
monkey.
Fez. That's huge, but Mo really wants to bench the monkey.
Yeah.
See the Psychic come down. So, I mean, Brian, what is Mo looking for? Is it just Iono?
I think so. And I feel like putting down the Fez is fine here just because Steven only needs one prize to win.
Yes.
So pretty much anything on the board is a liability at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially with the monkey down, there's already a Drifloon there. Like you said, having another 2-prizer does not matter.
Definitely. So hoping to see maybe an Iono here. Ooh, Secret Box. Secret Box will kind of get you there.
And a Bravery Charm. So actually, this is huge for Mo.
Yeah, because now Mo can kind of take like that really big knockout here. And I'm thinking that Mo, part of me wants to say that you want to maybe punch with something bigger.
So that way you don't get a Petty Grudge or something knockout.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like being able to kind of like move monkey damage around. Well, we already used the Monkey Dory.
I think.
Yeah.
So I agree with you in general. I think the wrinkle here is though Mo wants to eliminate Steven's draw.
Yeah.
Because Mo wants Steven to go down to 1 card in hand and then also not have a Goldango for a coin bonus.
That's true.
Because if you do try to do something tricky here, against Goldango, setting up for those combo turns feels really good because they're relatively low HP stage 1s, but they also draw cards. So it's very hard to lock them if you aren't clearing the draw from the board.
Yeah, definitely. Samo's looking to grab the Bravery Charm here. Artisan, Nest Ball.
We have Ionos.
Gotta grab Iono here.
I assume we grab Iono. Let's see.
Yeah.
To be fair, if Mo feels... yeah, okay, thank you.
Yep.
I was going to say, Mo could feel very confident and just grab the research and say, I'm going to win, but I don't know if that would be the move.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but looking like a pretty decent spot here for Mo now, just because now he can kind of add some more damage onto the board with those new energies that entered the discard.
Yes.
And now get that full knockout here.
And Mo needs to get this Drifloon up to, I believe, 7 damage counters on it. So really just 2 more energy is enough.
And we definitely, and there's at least 2 that got discarded originally.
Yes. And so we do have a Bravery Charm in hand. We could put that down somewhere. But I mean, it really doesn't matter unless Mo's trying to protect something. And to be honest, with Drifloon being in the active, if it gets knocked out, Steven wins the game.
Yep.
So none of this really matters.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we will see the Iono for Mo. Deciding not to put down the Artisan, which I think is a good call.
Yeah, I think that's smart as well, just because it kind of eliminates some of the other pieces that Steven could potentially draw into, and of course gets the Goldango right away.
As one does, yes. So that is a big deal. The issue is Steven technically doesn't have game, even with that Goldango. But him being proactive and putting down the Metal Energy last turn means he needs literally an out to a single energy off of this coin bonus.
That's all we need.
And so Mo is deciding how much to put down here.
Looks like we're going straight to 7, just like you said.
Which is enough.
Yeah, it's enough.
And Mo is, I think, a little concerned just because this now means Jamming Tower is also an out to lose.
Yes, Jamming Tower is. So it looks like we're getting the knockout here.
We are. The, Goldango goes down. Please go into the one with energy. We go into the one with energy.
Let's see the
draw for turn.
We don't get to see what it is yet. It's a
Buddy Poffin.
Buddy Poffin.
You gotta play it. You gotta play it, right? Or are you saving it for a superior?
Ooh.
Oh well, okay, that seems better.
That seems better. Yeah, I feel like you just play the Arvin now.
And then if we have a superior.
Yep, there's got to be one.
And there we go. That is going to be game for Steven.
Super close.
Needs a single energy, and that is game for Goldango, taking down Guardy. Now, I know Guardy's allegedly the greatest deck ever and all that, but, I mean, we got to see its butt whooped twice.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is clearly defining, not the fact that it won NAIC, or is both finalist decks or
definitely.
anything.
But, I mean, it is a beatable deck at the end of the day.
It is.
So that's definitely the big part about it, but it's also very powerful, too. So it's cool to see that there are also multiple ways to kind of beat the deck.
Yeah.
So we got to see 2 archetypes that were kind of able to do it as well. So very, very cool thing to see from our round 1 here.
Well, and kind of on that note, like you said, there are different ways to build it, and I'd looked at some of these decks, and I think the first and second place are the really interesting ones to contrast.
Yep.
So, Bryce, do you mind throwing up the first place one? Thank you. So this first place, congratulations to Isaiah Bradner for winning NAIC. Fantastic result, incredibly strong player, and he pulled it off with the list Alex was showing off. That included lots of monkeys, lots of dark, TM Turbo Energize, no balloon, and only one bravery charm. And I mean, this is a really cool list.
Yeah. I think the big thing that I kind of saw was playing the boss's orders in the deck.
Yes.
Which was really cool because, I mean, just having that on-demand gust is really important too. It was something that I kind of wish I kind of played in some of my past iterations of Gardevoir that I played, but being able to have the boss is really important here. The Mew EX. There's a lot of different outs to different decks here, so that's the really big part.
And that's kind of the interesting thing. And Mr. Blanks, yes, Jamming Tower is still a big deal into it, and Arch and Dango do have good matchups in Nagardi. But one thing that's interesting here is, like you said, the boss is in there, but to me, the supporter count is so interesting. It's just 4 research, 4 Iono, 2 Arven. You play 10 supporters, and 8 of them just straight up give you a new hand, which how this format has shifted from decks that were just 4 Arven with minimal draw to now, screw Arven, we're going to draw a ton of cards. This has been cool to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And it just shows that hyper consistency is really the big thing that you need to do when you're really building a deck here. And it really is the play now that there's no more really big onboard draw for Gardevoir because there's no more Refinement Curlia.
Right. And it's something that, so Kevin Krieger, Dr. Krieger and I, way back when Arceus was a thing, Arc Intel was built a lot like some of these Pidgeot decks, or these Noctowl decks, where you play a bunch of one-ofs, you don't play a ton of draw cards, you just go in and get stuff. And we went the opposite route, something very similar. So we said, you know what, screw it, let's just burn our hand to the ground and draw each turn.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the format moved eventually, and that's why I love to see this, because it's just as we saw with Alex, I don't need to search for 1s or 2s if I get my deck down to 5 cards by the end of turn 4. I'll have everything I need.
Exactly.
So one thing I'm curious with this, Brian, is sure there is a boss, but we only have 2 Gust.
Yeah, 1 catcher is also another thing that I really noticed right away too. And it's crazy too because, I mean, catcher was kind of like you're out to catching up.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you'd kind of stall something, you'll take a liability off of the board, but I mean, only having 2 Gusts really puts a lot of your faith into stuff like the Screamtail and other, your other big attackers.
Well, and like Dexter's saying, it actually puts a ton of faith into Monkey Dory.
Yeah, Monkey Dory,
because you assume you don't need to gust something out and take a clean one-shot.
Yeah.
You're okay just hitting into whatever's in the active and then cleaning up the game with that Adrenabrain.
Yeah.
Which is so gross.
It is. And I mean, it just shows Monkey Dory is probably, the best card in the whole deck. That and the Screamtail are probably the 2 best cards in the deck. And it's crazy too because if you prize that Screamtail, I mean, there's a lot of things you can't do anymore.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So, Anil Singh and then Kieran Farah, the Shift Gear podcast.
Guys.
Check them out. They have the Shifties voting currently going on for their annual awards.
Yeah.
But one of the questions was, what is the best card or most important card in the game this past year?
Yeah.
And I think it's obviously Monkey Dory for the past few months.
Yeah, it's got to be. I feel like Monkey Dory has had the most presence in different decks as well. I mean, we're playing it in Gold Dengo, we're playing it in all these other decks.
Yeah.
And we're forcing in Dark Energy into decks that probably don't really need Dark Energies in the first place, just because of how good it is. And we're playing Luminous Energy too.
Well, that's it. Dragapult's playing 4 Luminous now.
Yeah.
To assist with having Monkey Dory and other stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, in this kind of deck, it just changes what this deck can do.
Yeah.
And so the other piece I want to call out is kind of on that line is there is a whole Monkey Dory engine here with that Turbo Energize, with that Energy Switch, because neither of those help at all with Psychic Embrace. They're only in there to skip ahead on how many monkeys you get.
Yeah, and it was one of those things, too, where you would kind of be able to put the Gardevoir player behind if you knock out the Monkey Dory early.
Yeah.
But now it's not really a factor anymore because the Turbo Energize is putting so much more energy on the board earlier in the game.
And with that being said, you could TM Evo, you can Turbo Energize, and with Guardy, you're okay falling behind. You can go Evo Energize back-to-back turns and be in a winning position still, which is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy to see.
Bryce, do you mind throwing up the second place list then? Because this is one we want to contrast. This one, as you can see, play as a couple grass guys. with Drifloon and Budew, and the first list didn't actually play Budew either.
Yeah.
We have no Turbo Energize here, but we have a whole lot more tools, actually.
Yeah.
And so this is a deck where it seems, it's weird to say more aggressive, but it's kind of just more aggressive.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that, just because, I mean, the supporter count's kind of the same, but the way that you kind of go about it is a lot faster, because you want to go with that Evo early in the game, and then you kind of want to just rip Research or an Iono just to be able to draw more cards as you kind of go, just so you can get that EX into play faster and start attacking with those with the Screamtail and the Drifloon and all of that.
For sure. And greetings, Rafal. Pleasure to see you. Kind of like we were talking about too before, where Research and Iono are the main draw. This deck plays 4 outs to TM Evo with Secret Box and 3 TM Evo. And I mean, you just try to burn your deck to the ground turn 1, dig as hard as you can to just raw find Evo if you can't Arven.
Yeah, the 3 Evo is really good. It's one of those things where you can more comfortably kind of draw into it, which is when you need it. And another thing too is, like, as the game kind of goes by, it's just easy discard fodder as well.
It is. You do not mind ditching it. And so in this deck too, there's no Mew EX, which is interesting because it's beneficial draw and you can use Phantom Dive with it.
Yeah, which is the craziest part about it.
Insane. But this deck does use Budew and the Bravery Charms too. So I mean, do you just approach the game differently with this list compared to Bradner's?
Yeah, I think so. It's pretty much like a different play style.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
So tell me about that though. Like, why is this one different, and why do you think Riley thought this was a better approach?
Yeah, I feel like this is more consistent with what Michael Davidson played to Portland. It's kind of like the way the Gardevoir has been played ever since this rotation started. You know, you kind of you aggressively get into Gardevoir EX, and then you just start blowing up everything. Compared to the other one that Isaiah Bradner played, I feel like that's more similar to like that really slow Guardy that was played around EUIC time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, you're using a lot of monkey damage, there's no Drifloon, you're kind of just moving damage, and you're putting a lot more emphasis on using Screamtail and Gardevoir EX as attackers.
And that makes a ton of sense. So this is the boom, boom, blow them up. The other one is the, sure, that would be nice, but really you're clearing up the game with Monkey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will say, even with this being the less heavy air quotes monkey focus list, we still got 3 monkeys and
there's
3
still 3
dark.
of them. Yeah.
Like, we're not exactly skimping there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Brian, Guardy, clearly pretty good. And then Bryce, do you mind throwing up the top 16 for NAIC? And as we were kind of talking, Guardy had 3 of the top 4 slots, with Tord having the 4th. And then it also had, when it gets up here, but that was it in top 16.
Yeah.
So it was 3 decks in top 16, just happened to be 3 of the top 4. But man, we got a whole lot of other cool stuff in here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I mean, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that Grimmsnarl was able to come out the gate. You know, first event, it's legal, makes top cut. It's cool to see. Shout out to Ray Chen.
Yeah.
Ray Chen putting the Toad Scroll on the map. Super cool to see Ray Chen playing in 2 events and qualifying for Worlds.
That is insane.
That is so cool.
Absolutely
it's an
wild.
Amazing story for the TCG here. But it's cool that, you know, even though it's very heavily dominated meta of, you know, Dragapult and Gardevoir, it's cool to see like a couple other kind of decks kind of slip in. You know, we see that one Raging Bolt, we see that one EV Box, we see the Zoroark, and then we see the Grimmsnarl as well.
Well, the Zoroark's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Cameron Shinoy, Trash and Lanch podcast, also a great one. Check it out. Zoroark's still a cool deck.
Yeah, it's still a cool deck. And I was kind of taking a look to see how the list kind of was like different. I mean, I saw it plays two Reshiram.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not like anything crazy kind of going on with that deck. I feel like it's kind of like the same kind of engine that we've been seeing. I think it was only a 1/1 line of the Darmanitan, which was important to see.
And I think that's the switch. Is previously they were very like Darmanican or Flame Body Cannon focused. Now it's just a Zoroark deck.
Yeah. Which is definitely the important part, is that now it seems that Reshiram is kind of like the main attacker you kind of want to go with, and they wanted to kind of get away from that Darmanitan angle just because, you know, it was kind of a read for the meta that if Shaman was going to be a big play or not.
And I don't even know if Shaman was a big play, but it certainly found its way into enough decks.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of like their thought of like the meta call was like, maybe we were going to see a lot of Shaman here. We probably shouldn't be using this Darmanitan or putting so much emphasis on this in our deck list.
which makes a ton of sense. It is also much more expensive to use than the restroom because you have to continually clear and recharge the energies every turn.
Absolutely, yeah. But with this, I mean, you're going to be drawing a million cards. You can probably keep that attacker going for a little bit because that Zoroark EX is a pretty big Pokemon. And, I mean, that Reshiram's very reliable attacker. You're going to be able to take prizes pretty much every turn with it.
Agreed. And so one thing I think is interesting, and I cut off the numbers for some reason because I thought it was fun, but the only 2 Dragapults in top 8 were pure Dragapults.
Yeah.
No Duskmar, no Charizard, no nothing with them. But if you look at the next 8 decks, 5 of the remainder of top 16 are Dragapult with either Charizard or Duskmar. And so, again, Guardy 3 in top 16, Incredible 3 in the top 4. But there are 7 Dragapult in top 16. Like almost half of top 16 is Dragapult.
I know. It just shows that, I mean, they try printing counters. They try to take a lot of pieces out of it from the meta, but it's still gonna come strong.
Dude, it's so good. And so this is when Mo, again, love Mo, great player. Glad we have him on the team. When he's like, yeah, Guardy's clearly the best deck, like, I actually disagree. I don't think Guardy is the best deck in the format.
Oh, interesting.
Because the format is warped around Dragapult.
Yeah.
And if Dragapult was not actually the best deck in format, I don't think Guardy would be as good as it is.
Yeah, and I think, too, a big thing is that Guardy's play rate is always a lot smaller than a lot of these other decks. Like, we saw that Raging Bolt was the #1 deck day one, but it's gonna take a lot for Gardevoir to be the #1 deck in a meta, even if it's won as many regionals as it is, just because it has that higher ceiling, and it takes a lot more to kind of play the deck.
It did actually get up to #3 in day one for NAIC, which is still wild.
I don't think we're seeing it #1 ever, though.
No, I completely agree, especially because of how, like you said, hard it is to play effectively. There's not a ton of players that want to bring that.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we're going to get into our second round here, and we see yet another bridge into, well, exactly what we were talking about. Ends Zoroark. So
very good that we get to see this matchup here.
It is, and we see a really cool piece in this one in that reversal energy.
Yeah, the reversal energy is super cool because it's one of those things that helps you uptrade because you're able to put it onto that Darmanitan and just discard that 1 energy to be able to take hopefully 2 prizes.
And that's a huge deal because you also do it with a fire-type Pokemon, which means you can hit into stuff like Goldengo and knock it out if you have a Defiance Band.
Yeah.
And you don't have to expose a 2-prizer in the active.
Definitely.
All right, so we do see Osvaldo attach the Dark Energy. We have a bundle, a Nest Ball.
Yeah, so this is going to be our Duraludon here. And ooh, you see that Hero's Cape there. Do you see that Rocket Bomb too?
I did, and we see Rock. And honestly, I gotta imagine we have a Hopzation in here because I think that's a Postwick.
I think I saw a Postwick too. Yeah, so I'm wondering to see what kind of things that Postwick is going to be grabbing.
Bro, what are we watching? This is sick.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I don't think it's a Postwick. I think that's a Black Belt's training. I don't know. I want to say it is.
I think it's a Postwick.
It looks like a Postwick.
We're gonna find out, but unfortunately, if it is a Postwick, I don't see a Hopzation in the deck.
Yeah. Ooh, looks like we're putting the Squawk down here.
Which, from Osvaldo's perspective, like that's fine. We're gonna burn into the deck, but he still needs to find a Duraludon then.
Yeah, definitely. And that's another thing too. The Duraludon weak to fire.
Well, it's weak to fire until it attacks.
Yes.
And then it's not weak to fire anymore.
Yeah. I mean, even with the baby one, though. The baby one will be weak either way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mr. Blanks, I could see what you're saying about Guardy being the best deck. It was winning before, and it's still winning now. And there are decks that have a rough matchup into Guardy. My only thought is with that, even if it wins, the best deck doesn't always win. We saw Cloth Terrapagos win a regional, or excuse me, an IC, and homie, Cloth Terrapagos was never the best deck in format.
It was never. Nope.
All right, so going over to Ryan's turn, his hand sucks.
Yeah, it's not very good here, but, I mean, it's not the worst in the world. I mean, he's still able to kind of survive here. Maybe just going to see an attach, and then maybe pass the turn?
I think, honestly, we still want to see Cyrano here.
Yeah. Yeah, Cyrano's probably good here just because it'll thin out some extra cards here.
And that to me is the thing. Sure, there is a downside that if he plays a Cyrano and he gets Iono'd, they go to the bottom of the deck. But I think Ryan would love to get Iono'd here.
Yeah. Ooh, and I think he's looking for the boss here just to make sure that there's going to be another piece needed here.
Interesting.
Ooh, I actually like this play a lot.
All right, so tell me about that.
Yeah,
Why?
just because Osvaldo committed an energy already for the turn, and that energy is going to stay on the Monkey Dory. So it's going to be one less energy for Osvaldo to be able to accelerate onto that Archaludon once it gets evolved. And now he's going to have to commit another one to get the Iron Bundle out of the active as well.
That is a very good point and super reasonable. Oh, we see the Hero's Cape go on the Duraludon. See the rocket, 20 damage on the Reshiram. I don't think anyone cares.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, I thought it was only in the active. It was only...
Because I tried out Grant Shen's Pengo list, and they played a one of that.
Interesting.
Of that rocket bomb.
So we do see the Bridge EX in hand. We may see it evolved here, but probably not. But we have another Duraludon. I mean, to be honest, that was a pretty good hand Osvaldo researched into.
Definitely. So being able to put the 2 onto the Zorua kind of helps fix some of the math too. And that's one of the reasons too that I feel like Grant Shen played that as well, is because you put the 20 damage onto a Dragapult, it's a lot easier to blow up.
100%.
Yeah.
And so we do see, and honestly, that's great with Monkey too, because even if it goes on you, you can just Monkey it across.
Exactly. So Serrano coming down. Ryan's going to get his first deck search of the game. Going to see what he's going to be working with here. And it looks like there's not really much left that he can do here.
No, but getting that Zoroark down is huge because there is not a clean way for Osvaldo to one-shot it unless we get another 3 Rockets bombs off.
Yeah. And a Gust.
and a Gust, yes. So odds are in Ryan's favor here. But I think he just really wants to find a Buddy Poffin or something.
He definitely just needs some way to kind of get his board going here. And it doesn't help to starting that Reshiram as well, because now you're going to need something like the Ends Tower in order to retreat.
Yes, agreed. All right, so we do see the draw.
Oh, Artisan is huge here.
That is, and so is the Iono for next turn. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, so now this kind of really changed Ryan's board here.
So now the question is, Brian, do we get a Zora or Darmanitan?
Oh, I think you got to get the Zorua here. Yeah, I feel like you get the Zorua here just because you do have the Reshiram as kind of your other way to attack. So I don't think the Darumaka is really a priority here.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
I was just trying to give other options. Yeah. But yes, I agree completely. So one thing I wanted to mention for Invitational on Sunday, we'll talk about later, we are going to require deck lists from everyone.
Yeah.
And not that we don't trust people, but I want to be able to talk to you guys about what actually is in the list, not have Brian and I like, does he play this?
Yeah.
All right, and so we see the Artisan, and I think we're just going to see attach, pass back over.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
And do we attach the Dark to the... Yes.
Yeah, I would think so too. Just because, I mean, once you Iono, even if you put one on each, you want to be able to keep that energy in play.
100% agreed. And then also, there is no way for Osvaldo to knock that out, barring some serious shenanigans.
Yeah.
So, and now we have energy, we have a bridge. We can take a knockout on Reshiram.
Yeah, it's going to be a big bridge, but I think this is something that Ryan can kind of work his way into as well, just because even with a bridge with 400 HP, that Reshiram is going to be really big into taking that knockout.
It is, and we don't have a way to Gust right now, so we could just be knocking out this Reshiram, and I don't think Ryan cares.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he's okay with where his board states at the moment, and hopefully these trades are going to kind of get him some more pieces here.
And so one question I have when it gets to Ryan's turn is, does Ryan bench Fez?
I was thinking about that too, and I think you got to trade first and see what you can do, what you can grab.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we see a Buddy Poffin.
The Buddy Poffin finally. Yeah, huge for Ryan here. Being able to put 3 more Pokemon here with the Artisan as well, it's going to really strengthen his board here.
Well, it also means that Ryan can use this Artisan to get either a Monkey or a Reshiram or something like that.
Yeah. I don't see if there's another Reshiram here, though.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And neither does Ryan, based on that expression.
Yeah.
So even just getting a Darumaka or something is still good. Oh, but just getting the Zorua.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think you would probably want to grab the Darumaka here.
Right, because you can't Buddy Poffin for it.
Yeah, you can't Buddy Poffin for it.
Turn 1 to try 4 Monkey. Oh, God, no. Dr. Krieger,
Yeah,
get out of here. No,
Doc.
please, can we boot him from the chat? Get them out of here. Just kidding. But that would be wild. And also, one thing, we are talking about maybe doing weird formats for the future invitationals.
Yeah,
of like,
that would be super fun too because it would make it, I guess, more serious but more fun at the same time.
Reshiram is in the discard bin.
Yeah, Reshiram got knocked out last turn.
I believe Ryan plays 2, but I don't know if we have access to that second one.
Yeah.
And so with getting the Zora, are we not playing the Buddy Poffin?
Looks like we might not be. But
What do you think about that?
yeah, it's interesting. I feel like you'd want to kind of put all those Pokemon into play just to thin it out, just so you can hopefully draw into something like Boss or anything else that you would really want.
Agreeing. We see the reversal go down.
Yep.
We see an ends PP up,
Yep.
and we see a secret box.
Secret box is huge here.
That is. And I think Ryan debating whether or not we'd want to use a Rod or a Night Stretcher.
Yeah, I feel like the Night Stretcher might be optimal here, but still get to see what we can grab here.
And it looks like Ryan's saying, I'm going to go with the Rod if we're getting rid of the bear here.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
No, getting rid of the Bunny Poffin.
Yep.
Ooh.
This is good. And it's good tier too as well, just because now that you have the counter catcher as well.
You do. So if you want, you can knock out that Squawkabilly EX.
Yeah. And you can still play the Iono too if you really wanted to.
Yes. And also if your bridge Osbaldo's bridge hits into Zoroark with Reshiram down, Ryan one-shots it back.
Yeah. So
even with 400 HP.
Yeah, it's going to require a lot out of Osvaldo to kind of take this next knockout here.
All right, so we do see the Secret Box. And deciding not to bench the Fez, which, to be honest, I don't mind at this point.
Yeah, I think, too, just because it was kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning of the turn, right? That the Fez should only go down after the trades kind of come in, just because you don't really know what you're going to be getting.
Yes.
Ooh, this Defiance Best.
That is fantastic. No, the Rigid Band.
Oh, Rigid Band.
So it doesn't even matter if Ryan's ahead or behind on prizes. Yeah. All his stage ones take 30 less damage.
Yeah, so that's a really big tool to have as well.
Hilariously, though, I don't think Ryan actually wants to put it on there, guys.
I don't think so yet. I think it's gonna be something that we thin out of the deck and then kind of go from there. I think he's going to be looking to play Iono this turn.
I agree. And I think part of it is if Ryan puts it down, he actually can't one-shot that 400 HP Duraludon, which is hilarious. We had some very interesting interactions between that guy and the Iron Thorns deck that Trevor was playing earlier.
Shout out to Trev.
All right, so we see the Ents Castle come down. We see, we do go with the Rigid Band there.
Yep, the Squawk's going to be going into the active here and the Iono. And look at that amazing sequencing, too, just because now, look, all those cards getting played to just give Ryan more cards in hand.
It's wonderful. And now that's not a bad hand. Cleffa available, too. Yeah, I mean, Ryan seems like he's in a pretty good spot now.
He's in a pretty solid spot here, and he's going to be able to stay on the even pricing, which is really what he wanted to do.
It is. And now, if Osvaldo does hit into the Zoroark, it's going to put him at 220, or excuse me, 210. That is still enough to one-shot it back.
Definitely. And it seems to be, I think Ryan still has his attachment for turn if he'd like.
I believe so, because that bench energy was from an Ends PP up.
Yeah.
And we will see the attachment. I don't see why not.
Yeah, might as well. Get yourself another attacker in case something happens, right?
Something crazy happens here. And actually, maybe that's the reason for the Rigid Band, too, is this prevents shenanigans from a Rocket's Bomb or something.
Which he just drew into
for
turn.
He did. Yes, indeed.
Yep.
All right, we see the Rocket Bomb. Ooh.
Okay.
I don't feel like that's correct.
Putting the 2 onto the active?
Yeah.
What's your reasoning, Dan?
Because I think you may want to put it onto the bench Zora or something, so that way you can double monkey or something once this gets hit into.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I was also thinking maybe you put the 2 on there. If you're able to draw into Black Belt, just take the... You don't take the knockout, though.
True, and unfortunately, Osvaldo does not have any way to draw without a supporter right now.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of tough then.
Is there a bridge that he could put down, or a Duraludon? It looked like there was.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a reason Osvaldo only wants to have 1 on the bench?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you'd want to have more, but unless there's some more support Pokemon that he's kind of thinking about, that could also be the case as well.
True.
Another Rocket Bomb.
And so one thing to keep in mind too is Osvaldo does have Iron Bundle on the bench. So if he
Yes.
does not want to hit into the Zoroark, he can force things up.
Yes. But at the same time, Ryan can also just put the other one with another rigid band on as well.
Which is 100% what he would do.
Yeah.
All right, so we see a
Yep.
heads back on there. So we
Yep.
are currently going to get Ryan to 250 damage on that Zoroark if Osvaldo hits into it.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
It isn't. But I think there's got to be something that Ryan can do in the next turn. But Osvaldo.
I'm just kind of debating.
Yeah.
I think we may be going for that Pheasantipity here.
Oh, I don't know if I really like that play, though.
I don't know if I do either.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I still don't actually think that helps here at all.
I don't think it helps either, but
not even a little bit. But
yeah.
that's cool. It's cool.
It is cool, yeah.
All right, so why is that Relicanth so good in this deck?
Yeah, so it's pretty much the way for Archaludon to hit big numbers because it's able to copy the second attack of the Duraludon. I forgot what the name of it was. It's not because the Hammer In is the first one. I think it's like Raging Hammer.
Raging Hammer,
like
yes.
Yeah, so it's able to kind of take a knockout when there's a lot of damage counters on there.
I mean, that's a huge deal, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So I think they're kind of debating now about what kind of attack is kind of going on here. It looks like you're just going to see a... Is that just a Hammer In? Or some defender?
I think it's
or it could be a Raging Hammer.
It's a Raging Hammer.
It's a Raging Hammer.
Which, that's a really cool decision. Because now Ryan's only doing 220 in return.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Ryan has access to Monkey.
Yeah. That's the big thing, too, is that with the Ends PP up being able to accelerate the dark energies, it gives Ryan attach for turn to be able to use on Monkey Dory. And that will also help kind of stack up some more of that damage.
And we see Cypher Maniac's code breaking.
And Cypher is so good because it has really good synergy with trade just because you Cypher and then you're pretty much able to trade into the 2 cards that you wanted to put on the top.
And so remind us, Brian, what does Cypher do exactly?
Yeah, so it allows you to put to search out for 2 cards of whatever you want, and you put them on the top of your deck in any way that you like. So put those like 2 cards, like for example, if you wanted to put like Buddy Pop and Iono on the top, you can trade into that right after.
Yes. And so in this case, I'm curious if Ryan would want to trade into anything except maybe a Dark Energy.
Yeah, Dark Energy would be pretty good here. So let's see what the Cypher is going to grab here. So yeah, looks like that Dark Energy. Ryan actually listens.
He does.
He does.
He does.
He does listen to
Ryan makes good choices.
Yes.
And by that I mean he makes the choices we think of.
Yes.
So I think that's an energy switch.
I think. Oh, let's see if we can get a second go around at it. I feel like you'd want to get energy switch.
Maybe.
Yeah, energy switch is cool because it enables multiple monkey plays.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, and a boss. So really just stacking his hand for next turn.
Yeah. Very cool.
So then do we think this is just a monkey turn?
I think so. It's going to be kind of like a, let's try to see how close we can get to 2-shotting the Archaludon kind of thing. Yeah, just because reliably going to be able to, do, I guess, 340-ish damage, and then you can move up to 60. That'll get us to 400.
Yes.
Yeah, within 2 turns.
Yes. And so I am curious where Ryan decides to put this monkey damage, though.
Yeah, I want to say it's for the active. I think that's, in my opinion, would be ideal, but I don't know. I feel like there could be also some other ways around it, too.
So the only issue is if you put it on the active and hit for 170, you get 1 shot back.
Yeah, you do get 1 shot back, and I think that's something that Ryan's okay with.
Deciding to put it on the monkey.
The monkey.
And actually, I like this because 250 minus 30, 220. It would still be a knockout if we hit for 70. But if we hit him for 160, 240, 210, it's still a knockout.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do we scratch?
Ooh. I don't know. Oh, I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
And I think that's what Ryan is debating is, do I scratch?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's so tough to think about just because, I mean, that retaliation Raging Hammer damage is a lot to deal with.
It is.
Yeah.
And so the issue and the risk really comes in, does Ubaldo have access to a Dark Energy? Because I think that fixes so much math
It does. It does. And, I mean, we see one in the discard right now, so something as simple as like a Night Stretcher would be able to kind of take care of that.
Yes, agreed. And so Ryan debating, and I understand the taking the time to debate here because we're deciding like, am I
Ooh.
going to set up for a one shot here? And going into
Going
the
with.
other Zorark,
I kind of like this play here.
do you think we hit for 170?
I think so. I think that's the reason why we go into that other one, is just so we can do that. Oh, but it looks like, did Ryan just pass?
I think Ryan just passed.
Oh, I think Ryan might have just passed, so maybe he can take another hit and then retaliate himself.
I think so. And so 190 hitting into this benched
Yeah.
Zorark
Oh, but interesting.
would not be a knockout.
There's a Duraludon in the hand and didn't want to put that down as well.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
I'm confused on that.
Yeah.
Is there? Are we saving a bench spot for Fez or?
Could be. Yeah.
All right. So we do have access to Night Stretcher, so we can monkey some things.
Yeah. So I'm wondering now, where do we put this damage? Do we put it on that Zoroark on the bench?
So if we were going to do that, I would have very much liked to see the Hyper Blower first.
Yeah.
Before we use the Night Stretcher. Because I would want to kind of psych Ryan into going into the Zorark.
Oh yeah, I definitely see that.
Because I think if Ryan doesn't think Osbaldo has access to the monkey, you probably go into the other Zorark.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think next turn is going to kind of determine how Ryan wants to approach the rest of his game. Just because I see that he's got that boss in hand, and maybe I'm thinking he tries to do maybe 2 single prizers in the next two prizes.
I think that makes sense. And
Yeah.
just force Osbaldo into a very awkward position.
Yeah.
So we do have the Darmanitan. Doesn't really matter. We don't have the Darmaka. We have a Cypher. We have a boss. We have an E-Switch. I guess, Brian, what's the prize map for Ryan here?
Yeah, I'm thinking with the decisions that he's made in the last turn, I think he's going to maybe look for 2 single prizers. He might try to boss up that Monkey Dory and then see if he can kind of draw into another Gus card to take out maybe that Duraludon on the bench, and then figure out for the rest of the game, maybe he'll take 2 knockout or 2 hits on the Archaludon EX.
And I don't know if that plays into Osbaldo's game plan here, just because that means Osbaldo only has to put 1 giant bridge down, and it's this one.
Yeah.
And so that Heroes Keep is putting in a lot of work because it forces weird decisions for Ryan.
Yeah, now Ryan can't really play it like he usually would want to, but looks like that boss is going to be going into play here. Yep, and it's going to be onto that Monkey Dory.
And I don't mind that because the Relicanth is there.
Yeah.
If the Relicanth was not down, I would think it would have to be onto the Duraludon.
Yeah, I would agree as well. And I feel like the Monkey Dory, it's kind of like what we were talking about, best card in the game right now. Being able to take that out of play, really huge.
Yeah. And I agree with Ryan's decision here of take it off the one with more damage.
Yeah.
Because it makes it way harder and just clears it off the board.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
That can't be right, can it?
No, I don't really agree with it, but I mean, Ryan's got a good mind for the game, so.
I guess it's good to assume that Ryan is correct and we're not, but
yeah.
Interesting. So we do see the knockout. We see Osbaldo go back into the giant bridge. And then can Osbaldo do anything clever here?
Yeah, I mean, probably put another bridge into play to force the knockout into the Relicanth. That could be something that we kind of do here.
Definitely. And so if we do play Black Belt, we hit for 260, minus 30 is 230. That is perfect math.
Yeah, that is perfect math, yeah.
But do we have that in hand? I think we have 3 Carmine in hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of Carmines.
Oh, and now we have a tough choice. Now do we get the Fez? Oh, another monkey.
Another monkey.
There are so many monkeys. And we have the Earthen Vessel to go get another Dark Energy. Bro, I mean, Osbaldo's game is working here.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's a lot of things he's able to kind of do here. The thing I'm looking for in these deck searches, though, is if there's another... I don't see if there's another Black Belt. I think the only one was maybe the one that was originally discarded.
And so that's a big deal then, because that is his way to reach.
It is.
All right, and so we haven't seen a Palpad yet or anything either. There may be another Rockets Bomb. But yeah, things are near. Like, this is close. And now Ryan, again, is a better player than me because clearing that energy off the board is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because if Osbaldo had access to that 30 damage, things could be a lot scarier.
Things could be a lot scarier as well. Yeah.
And so Osvaldo also does not have a Gust in hand, so we're probably hitting into a Zoroark unless we try to pass.
Yeah, probably. It looks like we're punching into it.
And but only with
I think it's the hammer.
With the Raging Hammer.
Yeah, Raging Hammer, yeah.
So we are at 100 damage on the Zoroark EX. Osvaldo has avoided giving up a prize, but we're still in kind of scary territory here.
Yeah, definitely.
And we can get another monkey down for Ryan. Dude, this is starting to get really sketchy for Osvaldo.
Is this going to be like maybe like Monkey E-Switch?
Or Monkey Zora, it looks like, because we have an energy in hand.
Yeah, it could be.
Interesting. All right, so then what is Ryan's game plan here? Like, how is he taking his last 4 prizes or 3 prizes?
I think it's going to be that kind of single prize kind of game that we were kind of talking about earlier. And I think the double monkey is really huge here just because now Ryan is able to uptrade with the monkeys now. So it's not going to be like equal kind of, kind of thing where, 30 damage is moving and then 30 damage moving back. Now it's going to be a thing where 60 damage is moving, but only 30 can come back onto Ryan's side.
And that is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so now there is a line. Do we decide to just put this energy on the bridge and hit it and say, if you Turo it, good luck? Or do we still just try to kind of spread this damage so we don't get one shot?
I think we're spreading it. I think that's probably what Ryan's looking to do here. Yeah.
And we are going to be able to clear 60 damage off of the Zoroark. And I mean, this deck with this build now seems a whole lot scarier.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's very hard to reach a one-shot. And then if you don't, oh God, like you just get knocked out right back.
Yeah, and 2 boss are coming back with that pal pad. So now with the deck getting thinner and thinner, Ryan's going to be able to draw into those bosses a lot more consistently.
And that's a big deal because that is how he's going to clean up this game.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so then, Brian, where does this 60 damage go?
Thinking it might go onto the Relicanth. Either the Relicanth or maybe like the Duraludon. It could go into any of the bench mons, I think.
I think the Relicanth is the right choice. Relicanth has 100 HP.
Yeah.
So Monkey has 110.
Yeah.
Duraludon can evolve. Yeah. Let's take the low HP guy.
Yeah.
And now, do we hit this bridge?
That's the thing I'm wondering now. I think we might just pass. Yeah. That's what Ryan's looking to do, is just passing the turnover.
What? Oh, I wouldn't even say a weird game because there's actually a strategic pass in top 4 of NAIC.
Yeah. And that was like the biggest play of the whole tournament, and people are still talking about that play right now.
And I think that's something that's so underrated. Xander Perro talked about this a while ago, but like knowing when to just pass the turn is so important because you can steal yourself games when you screw up your opponent's game plan.
Yeah, because as soon as you just pass the turn, now they don't know what to do because they were kind of expecting you to kind of either punch into the Pokemon, take the knockout, this and that. But sometimes that pass could really throw them off.
So it is not nearly the consequence of NAIC, but that cup with Hydreigon I played a little while ago.
Oh, yeah.
So in top 8 of that cup, I was playing against Dragapult.
Yeah.
And he went in with Blood Moon, hit into a guy, and he needed monkey damage to then Turo or something in order to clean up and knock him out Hydreigon and win the game.
Yeah.
And so he hit with his bear, and I'm like, well, I could attack and do 200 and discard stuff, or I could attach pass and use Obsidian next turn.
Yeah.
And so I attached and passed, and he just looked at me and said a word I'm not allowed to say on stream and scooped it up because he did not have a way to win.
Yeah.
It's playing smart is a huge, huge deal.
Definitely.
All right, and so we do see that 60 damage now on the bench Zoroark. We see 90 on the active. Where does this monkey damage come from?
I feel like it's got to come from maybe the active again. Either that or maybe that. I feel like it's got to. I feel like you don't split it. I don't know. Part of me is thinking you don't split it, but at the same time, I can kind of see a line where you kind of just take 3 off of each Zoroark and move it onto that that Relicanth.
And I agree because I think you're setting up to clear the Relicanth and then either Iono or something like that in the same turn.
Yeah, but now that Ryan drew into the boss, I can kind of see a line here where you just boss the Monkey Dory and knock it out, as well as putting that monkey.
Well, actually,
damage.
I think you boss the Dura and knock it out and move the damage to the Relicanth because now... Oh, okay, we do it after Monkey. Well, the reason I'm thinking is now Ryan just needs one more gust to win the game.
Yeah.
If he's able to move all that damage to the Relicanth.
That is true.
Yes.
OP.
Oh, absolutely. And Dr. Krieger agreed.
Yeah.
Sometimes just passing, letting your opponent like build up damage on their board, and then going for a wipe is the move.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I never really thought about too. Is like I do see that Ryan plays that devolution.
Yes. Now I don't know if it's as helpful in this matchup per se, but maybe it adds value at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we see the draw. We see a boss for Osbaldo, but I don't think Ryan really cares. Boss up whatever you want, man.
Yeah, just because now only one monkey is kind of really needed here, and I feel like at this point Osbaldo is kind of forced to evolve that Duraludon on the bench.
So, and that's the only reason why I think I would have liked to see Ryan knock out that Duraludon on the bench is because it makes it even harder for Osbaldo to play around this.
Yeah.
Since Ryan could just go Gust Monkey and close this out.
Definitely. And taking out this Reshiram is also going to be very important as well.
That is, and that's a great way to apply pressure to Ryan's board.
Yeah.
Because now he needs a way to get it back. He has it in hand.
Yep.
But still. And yes, Dr. Krieger, I agree. One of the hardest things to develop is knowing when not to do something.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right, so Brian, what's Ryan doing?
Oh, he's trading.
Well,
he's trying to draw into. I think what he needs is, does he need to get the Reshiram back? And does he have the? Oh, he has the Night Stretcher already. I think he just needs Boss then, right?
I think so. So Boss doesn't win him the game, but oh wait, Boss does win him.
Yeah,
the game.
Boss would win him the game.
You are absolutely correct.
Yeah,
we did not find it.
Yeah, we did not find it. We don't have a way into Fez. Wait, we might have a way into Fez, but if we have a way into Fez,
we can also just take a knockout.
Yeah. Ooh.
He traded Boss away.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. But why?
Oh, maybe he's got a different idea that we're not thinking of. Ooh, Iono? Oh, but playing Iono without putting the Reshiram back, though, I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, man.
So I think, honestly, I think Ryan just missed a chance to have game here.
Yeah. Unless he's looking to maybe just...
he may just be thinking, I'm going to pass anyway, so who cares?
Unless he's looking to just put damage elsewhere. But he needs to have that attacker. Oh, looks like
just
he just
passes over. I mean, to be honest, there's nothing Osbaldo can hit into that Ryan minds here.
Yeah.
Even knocking out a monkey is fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
And with Osbaldo needing 3 prizes remaining, he's going to have to go through a Zoroark.
Yeah.
And there's no need for Ryan to bench a Reshiram until Osbaldo hits into a Zoroark. And maybe that's what Ryan was thinking.
Yeah. Looks like he takes the knockout onto the Monkey Dory, which is huge here as well. Oh, with his boss.
We see the boss.
There is boss.
Discard the Cyrano.
Yep.
We just need that Night Stretcher at this point. Trade away the Iono.
Yeah. Oh, this is so intense now.
It is. So Ryan just really needs access to that Reshiram.
Yep.
Okay. Or do we see the out?
Ooh,
we do not.
We do not.
But to be honest, it was a counter. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe. That makes way more sense. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure Ryan would make the right choice here. But I mean, Ryan's got time. He can chill.
Yeah, definitely.
And we just go into the Zoroark with energy in the Rich Band and then just say pass.
Yeah, pass it back over. That's coming in.
Osbaldo's just going, what do I do here, man?
Okay, looks like we're just going boss again. Matching at 1 prize now.
For sure. And I mean, Ryan, the game plan hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Just need to see that Night Stretcher. And we're going to see the whole deck. So we better see it. Yep, there it is.
Yep,
so Night Stretcher, get the Reshiram, going with the boss. And I will say, what a very, very cool game to watch.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those ones where it was like, it felt like a chess match just because you really need to know how the interactions work. It's not really one of those things where you're kind of like knocking each other back and forth, knocking each other out. It's one of those things where it's strategic damage movement. There's a lot of, using other attacks. It's not using the thing that does the most damage. It's doing just enough to where the retaliation isn't going to completely destroy the game state.
And so this is another one where we talk all the time about knowing your game plan and your opponent's game plan.
Yes.
Ryan and Osbaldo both had to know what your opponent was trying to do, because otherwise you could play right into it and get cooked right away.
Exactly.
So the only thing I would have liked to see from Ryan was knocking out that Duraludon instead. And yes, Pezzy, exactly. If Ryan had not knocked out Bridge and it got evolved, that is a whole different game.
Whole different. Yeah, even that A-Spec choice, if it wasn't the Hero's Cape, it could have gone a completely different.
100%, because then Ryan doesn't mind hitting into it probably at one point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, Ryan is excellent at Pokemon. So, Brian, let me ask you here. When we are talking about some of these decks that we could bring in, because we saw two, not off meta per se, but decks we don't see as much of. And Bryce, could you throw up the Enzorark one? Like, what goes into your mindset when you try to bring one of these, like, non-top 2 or 3 decks into a tournament? And Dr. Krieger, I'm glad you're here because I want your thoughts, too.
Yeah, it's one of those things, too, where you're bringing a deck like this into the meta because you know that it takes out the meta.
Yes.
So, it's like a big read. So it's like one of those things where I was talking to a few buddies of mine where a lot of people liked the idea of Zoroark into NAIC because they thought that Gardevoir was going to be the most dominant deck into the room. So it's kind of like that anti-meta thing where it's like you bring a deck to an event because you're really hoping to just hit all of these meta decks. And sometimes you can get really punished for it, like really, really hard.
Sorry, Kat, I am glad you're having a good night. Enjoy your evening and get some sleep.
Enjoy.
But no, keep going, Brian.
Yeah, it's like one of those things, too, where it's like you can bring anti-meta to an event, hit all of the meta matchups that you want, and you'll do really well. Or you can get punished for it by not hitting any of the meta decks that you're kind of thinking about.
Yes.
Yeah. And I can attest to that because I made a bad meta call because of it.
Well,
yes.
Fair enough.
Yep.
And Ben, yes, just saying trade is a excellent decision maker.
Yes.
So, Brian, what did you play?
So, Indianapolis last year, it was fresh off of Josh Frink's top 4 Gardevoir finish. I brought Turbo Hands to that event.
Oh, God.
So I was thinking that I was going to hit a bunch of, Gardevoirs or a lot of the other kind of decks that played like a lot of babies at the time. Like I know like Dialga was kind of like big at the time. And I thought that, the arm press with a bunch of Iron Crowns takes out the baby Dialga V.
That is
true. And also takes out like the Beldums and the Metangs and stuff like that.
Everything you said is a fact.
But I ended up hitting 6 Charizards instead, and that's your worst matchup.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Kat, unfortunately, you came back just to hear how bad it was,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Definitely.
And Kevin, like, leaning towards the counter decks where, when top 2 matches are swinging or luck-based, well, yes, I would agree. Iron Thorns and Turbo Hands. I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that could have been a thing, but that was the format before Iron Thorns came out.
Yeah, okay.
So it was still temporal force meta.
Yes.
So yeah, that was right before Twilight Masquerade came out.
That's right, because I remember I skipped that tournament.
Yes.
Yes, but no, honestly, I think Turbo Hands is one of those decks where it has a niche. Like, it is that deck that can run over...
Lugia was the other thing I was hoping to hit, too.
Because
you can just amp 2 Lugias, and you win the game.
God, that's so gross.
It is actually an auto loss for Lugia, and I was really hoping, too, to hit a bunch of Lugias that event. Yeah.
That's so disgusting.
I know. And I hit 0 Lugia, I hit 1 Gardevoir, and I won the Gardevoir match in like 4 minutes. But the Charizards, it made the night.
Yeah, so when Charizard has 330 HP and you hit for not that, you have a hard time.
Yeah.
And so, Dr. Krieger, when the top tier matchups are swinging or luck based, that makes sense. And honestly, I've gone the exact opposite route. So, like what you're saying, Brian, making a meta call, Dr. Krieger, you've made some fantastic meta calls and built stuff to counter the field. I suck at that. Yeah. I'm terrible at that.
I know. I haven't made some very good meta calls in the last year, but, it's one of those things where you kind of just have to go with your gut and see if kind of predict the meta, and you can't really predict everything correctly.
That's true. So my gut's horrible. So whatever I tell you the meta will be, do the opposite. To be clear.
All right.
But for me, because that's the thing, is I go the opposite route. I'm like, you know what? Just give me the best deck in format, and I'll do my best to play it better than almost anyone else.
Yeah, and that's kind of the route that I've been trying to take, because I feel like my best performance that I've had was Toronto, and I played Regidrago, and that was by far the best deck.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I definitely had my best start, and I had the best chance to day 2 that event. But, hitting Raging Bolt a couple times towards the end of the day doesn't really help.
No, that'll do it.
Yeah.
I went 4-5 that tournament with Dragapult Iron Thorns, by the way. So
I do remember that.
God, that was terrible.
Yep.
Don't do that. And yes, play best deck, be better than others. I think I can do that for a large portion of the play area or group. Not Isaiah Bradner.
No.
No, though, to be fair, I've beat him and tied him when we've played only.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, there definitely is.
So, Brian, again, we got off topic there. But talking about this Enzoric deck, so it does have a good matchup in Nagardi. But I'm kind of curious with that because cutting down the Darumaka line, that actually was why it had such a good guarding matchup, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was one of the big reasons. And it was also like a really solid guarding matchup just because you can just gust the EX and just take it out of play right away.
True.
Yeah.
And Cat Thorns was a scam. 100%. Total scam. They always had it. But no, that makes sense. So being able to one-shot Guardy is big. And being able to use Monkey Dory to clear off some of those low HP one-prizers is a big deal, too.
Yeah, definitely.
And Devo is a big deal into a lot of matchups.
Devo is really big, too, because a lot of the time that Darmanitan, the Flame Body Cannon's not going to really take those knockouts, but it'll set up the knockouts for you.
Yes, and with Monkey Dory, you can like add on to some of that damage spread to set up for kind of a board wipe like Kevin was talking about earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
And so for this deck, is there anything you would think we would tweak, or does this look about right?
I feel like it's pretty solid. I do like the 2 Reshiram like a lot because it's gonna be like your main attacker pretty much. It's one of those things too where I was kind of thinking, I wonder if this archetype's gonna get more support, but it's not really looking like it.
Not really.
Yeah, so I feel like this is gonna be kind of like what we work with if you want to play this archetype going forward. And I feel like, leading into the Reshiram kind of is like enough.
And I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Kat, you ask a wonderful question of why didn't Grimmsnarl do better, considering Guardy was all over the top tables. Bryce, would you mind terribly throwing up the top 16 through 32?
Yeah.
Because you're right, Guardy got 3 of the top 4, which is insane. But Grimmsnarl does not have an incredible Dragapult matchup.
Yeah.
And if you see here...
And Raging Bolt, too. I feel like the Raging Bolt matchup's also kind of rough, too.
No, I think it's actually pretty close.
Really?
Because Grimmsnarl can set up big swing turns, and Raging Bolt, although it can apply pressure, you're not taking 2 prize knockouts for a long time.
Yeah.
And so here's the issue. There were 6 Guardian top 32, and the players playing Guardy were incredibly strong players.
Yeah.
However, we said there were 9 Dragapult in top 16, right?
Yeah.
Is my math right?
And this is the rest of top 16.
And this is top 32.
Yeah.
And so there are 7, 8, 9, 10 more Dragapult in spots 17 through 32. Yep. And Grimmsnarl does not have a great Dragapult matchup.
Yep.
Because Dragapult has enough HP, it has a draw engine, it can spread, and it can also take all of its Pokemon with abilities out of Frostlass range of its being able to do anything. And so it can just apply too much pressure for Grimmsnarl. So Grimmsnarl did do well in Nagardi, I think, but when the top tables are Charizard and Dragapult with Dusknoir, that feels horrible.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely like a big thing there with, look at all that Dragapult.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's so much. And also, Grimmsnarl, the only line into the Charizard matchup is Devo.
Yeah.
But if you're able to apply a ton of pressure with Dragapult early and then use a Charizard to just clean up Grimmsnarl's late, you don't have that Devo play to set up.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like a lot more of like the Charizard play is not really leaning on rare candy as much as just raw evolving it through the entire evolution line.
Exactly. And so that's the other tricky part. Since Grimmsnarl relies on Frostlass and on Monkey Dory, you can keep your Charmeleon with no damage building, and you can evolve your Dracloaks into Dragapults with, again, no damage building.
Definitely.
And honestly, that is very fair. And correct. I would say maybe it's not wildly unfavorable. It probably favors Grimmsnarl by a bit. Maybe 55-45, something like that. But being a good enough player as Bradner, this is why I always say, like, play the best deck and be better. He's probably just better a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And Makalarama, thank you very much for joining.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brian, looking at this top 32, like, what are the thoughts do you have from this?
I mean, it's just like, I feel like Dragapult's gonna, like, the Dragapult stocks are gonna go back up, and I feel like a lot more decks need to respect Dragapult.
Agreed. And also, I think need to respect Dusknoir, because holy, is there a lot of Dusknoir here.
Yeah.
And I do think, and Arnie played it, JT Strafford is a big advocate of it.
Yeah.
But that Dragapult Charizard, like we were talking about, is so good. Is Pulsar? Okay, Pultnor matchup is a problem. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Dusknoir is just such a problem for so many decks.
Definitely is.
So then, Brian, if you're looking at all these Dragapult options, what's the one you're going with?
I feel like I'm leaning towards Pulsar, but I feel like maybe like the slow pult that that Tord brought. I
Yeah,
feel like that's a really solid one too. The one that plays like the Neo Upper Energy, the Maractus. It's just hyper consistent. Hyper consistent. Like you see, like there's just a lot of multiples of every single card. It's just a very short looking deck list, and I
it
feel
is.
like that's probably one of the more optimal ways to play Dragapult. Um, that one, or I really like the Pulsar though. Yeah.
Bryce, would you mind throwing up that toward list because Brian Goodness was at a beautiful transition.
Yeah.
So I agree and disagree. I
Yes.
do think Slowpolt is really good, and if you put it in Tord's hands, like, dude, Tord could win, kind of like Kat was saying. Tord
Yeah.
could win with like a league battle deck if he
Yeah.
really needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the actual power level of this deck is a lot lower than something like Dusknoir or
Yeah,
Charizard.
definitely. Just because the Dusknoir line is able to put more damage on the board a lot faster.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so for me, I think I am not a good enough player to compete with Tord in a list like this.
yeah,
So I always want to lean towards a Dusknoir because that has enough power where I feel like if it's consistent and I just throw a few slots in there to do the cool thing,
yeah.
like it's going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I think Neo Upper may be the best ace spec for Dragapult.
Yeah, it was funny because I was testing this list not too long ago, and one of my Dragapults got knocked out. I had like no energy on the board, and I was like, "How am I going to win this game?" And I totally forgot that the Neo Upper Energy was in the list. So when I recon directed into it, I was like, "Wait, I just win the game." Yeah, so
Fair
yeah,
enough.
it definitely helps a lot to have that card in the deck.
And something like Charizard Dragapult doesn't need it because you can accelerate with Charizard.
Yeah,
But for a deck like this, rather than play something like Crispin or hope to kind of hit that, you just play, hey, single attach, I can Phantom Dive, since you can play a slow game and build up your manual attachments outside
yeah,
of that.
definitely.
All right, so then is there anything else about this list that you think is worth calling out?
The Maractus. I think the Maractus is what
So
makes
sick.
it's what makes this list so much different than everybody else. I feel like that and the fact that you see the multiples of everything. You see the 4 boss, you see 4 Iono, 4 research, 3 Brock scouting. Like there's so much consistency built into the list that you'll pretty much be able to kind of play the game every single game.
I cannot think of a deck in the past that played 7 Gust
Yeah,
outside of this one. That is
exactly.
insane.
Yeah,
All right, and so we are getting into our round 3. Thank you all for listening to us yap for a while. I
yeah,
appreciate it. But we are seeing Gardevoir versus Raging Bolt, and our first Raging Bolt of the day.
yeah, definitely. So it's definitely one of those. It was the most played deck NAIC day one. So we got our boy Pep here going against Samuel. And typically, I would think that the Gardevoir is the favored one into this matchup.
I think it is. However, it's not as favored as it was
Yeah.
because Baby Bolt is such a strong
Oh
card.
yeah, Baby Bolt is so good, and especially if you're going first, being able to go like Baby Bolt attach and then set it up with like Sada or Crispin the next turn, it's such a good way to get a good advantage. But the Shaman, on the other hand, is kind of able to kind of take that away from the Raging Bolt player.
I would say to a degree, yes. So the Shaman does remove that as an option to snipe the bench, but it's okay to just use a 1-prizer to take one shot in the active.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely okay as well.
And we do see the fan Rotom for Knockdown, Ditto, and a Hoot Hoot.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty good setup.
it definitely is. Good start here for Pep.
And so you mentioned the Baby Raging Bolt. What else is Pep's line into this matchup?
So I mean, he's really just trying to get the Terra, being able to start the Terra is huge, just because you're gonna need that in order to get the Area 0 in play. But being able to kind of get that going, along with putting the Ditto in the active, get some good starts. So that's probably gonna turn into the Baby Bolt.
And I would imagine, because then, like you said, being able to Sada to Baby Bolts and another Bolt, or even Baby Bolts and a Slitherwing, something like that, is just huge.
Yeah, definitely. So this Teal Dance coming up. We have Asada for next turn.
Oh, and that's such a big deal because now
Yeah.
Pep doesn't need a knocked out for it.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks like, ooh, wait, are we looking to, what are we looking to put here?
Gotta be getting Baby Bolt,
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Oh, looking like we're getting the Latias here, and maybe just, oh, I don't know how I feel about this play here.
I know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I feel like you have so many resources in hand. I feel like you can just, get the attachment done onto that Baby Bolt, and then be able to accelerate the next turn.
I also feel like you could do literally anything else and it would be better.
Yeah.
But here we are. That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's okay. We're here to, test it out. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're figuring this out. We're
Yeah.
just figuring it out. This is great. And so from Samuel's side, we do see Arvin for an Earthen Vessel and an Evo just to get rid of the Evo, secret boxing away a whole lot of things. So I mean,
Yeah.
that is a stacked hand to start.
Oh yeah, definitely. So keeping one of those energy into the hand, and we're probably going to be looking to get another Evo, kind of thin that out, and then put the there we go. There's that Evo, and then get maybe 2 Ralts into the play here.
I could see that. I'm still just flabbergasted why we got a Latias and
Yeah,
not a
I
Baby
know. If
Bolt.
we have 2 Ultra Balls in hand, I feel like we kind of gotta, or 1 Ultra Ball in hand. I feel like we gotta use that to put something else into play here.
I agree, and we also haven't knocked. Maybe I'm just judging too harshly,
Yeah.
but regardless, we do see an Artisan, a TM Evo, a Research, which is very weird negative
Yeah.
glow in the light, and we need a way to get some Ralts down.
Yeah, we definitely need some Ralts here. Oh, interesting to go with the Ultra Ball here as well.
I agree. So we're going to be able to Artisan for Ralts. Are we Ultra Balling for Mew to draw?
Oh, it doesn't sound like it would be super effective here, but
good choice of words.
Yeah.
I agree. We have a Drifloon. We have a Clefairy.
Yeah.
Guys, I have so many questions already into this matchup.
I do have a lot of questions here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So why do you think Samuel's going this route?
I think it's just like the way he wants to kind of thin everything out.
And I guess going for the Research, but...
The Research I think is fine, but it's just like the way to kind of get all those cards, you know? Like I feel like you can grab like Nest Ball, or I don't know if they played the one of Buddy Poffin. Like I feel like there's a lot of other ways you could have kind of set up your board to be that way without having to use the Ultra Ball. Unless there's like a prizing thing that I didn't see.
Maybe. But so here's the other issue now for Pep is that Shaman has 80 HP.
Yes.
And those Kirlias on the bench have 90 HP.
Yeah, so that Baby Bolt's not taking any knockouts unless he's looking to put the big guy in there, and I don't know if that's really optimal.
It is not.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, and I just don't know, but that does not feel optimal.
Yeah.
All right, and so we do see the 2 cards we can get off this knockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to judge, Brian.
I know, we try to, but it's kind of like our constructive criticism.
That is the nice way to say, what are you doing?
Yes.
But all right, so Pep does go for the big bolt. We do get an Earthen Vessel off of that. So, I mean, we are going to be able to take a knockout.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It feels weird to take a knockout on a Shaman with a Raging Bolt EX.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, you don't really want to get the big guy into play until you need to really get the big knockouts. And that's really why we play the Baby Bolt, is so we can get those big knockouts or so we can get those knockouts on the smaller 1 prizers without having to give up a 2 prizer.
And to be fair, maybe the Baby Bolt is prized. And maybe that's why we're going down this line. But even then, I would get the Slitherwing or something.
Yeah, the Slitherwing could have been really effective here too, if it's just to take out the Shaman.
I know it damages itself, but at the same time, regardless. But we do have a Raging Bolt here. We are able to get more Pokemon onto the board. We have Earthen Vessel, Sada, Ultra Ball. Like, we've got good stuff here.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I think we do want to bench that Hoot Hoot. We kind of want to Ultra Ball to get another Bolt down.
Definitely, because you want to make the most out of the sequence here.
Yes. We see a Judge, Grass Energy. So, and I will say, credit to Pep. Pep was actually 301 at NAIC. So he's been playing this deck very, very well.
Yeah. It's just both of these energy are going to have to go down.
Yes, or we can leave one on and take one off the Ogre Pawn.
Yeah.
But we are going to have to use 2 energy to knock out this Shaman.
Yeah, it's kind of not the best feeling in the world, but...
It is not, especially with a Clefairy coming down onto the board.
Baby Bolt's in the hand now, so maybe we got it off the prizes here.
I would assume so, because we did not have in the hand before.
Yeah, but even so, I feel like even if you have... Oh, man, I don't even know. I feel like even knocking out with, like, the Fan Rotom isn't really... That's going to take 2 turns to do anyways. Yeah, I guess maybe what Pep did here is okay.
Oh, and we actually just see the Budu.
The Budu.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting here.
So then we see the draw for Pep. We do have a pretty decent hand, honestly.
Yeah.
We can see the Teal Dance. Another Ogre Pawn.
Another Ogre Pawn.
So, I mean, Brian, what is Pep's plan here?
I think he has to play one of his supporters. Like, he needs to either play the Judge or the Iono just so he can draw into another energy so he can take another knockout here. Either that, or if he's able to draw into any sort of energy, he could have attached it to the Fan Rotom and used the free retreat in order to knock it out.
That is true. And we did not have access to an energy, so maybe we're just hoping to hit that off a Judge.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I would have liked to see him bench the last Hoot Hoot.
Yeah. I also feel like I would have preferred playing Iono, but because I think that increases your chance of, securing the energy, but I don't mind the Judge either.
I also don't mind the Judge because I think he's right in thinking that if he does Iono and whiffs, He's helping Sam out
Yeah,
so
so
much.
much more. Yeah, definitely.
But right now, Sam doesn't have any draw on board, so those 4 cards could be a big deal.
Yep. Oh, and he did not get
And we drew
it.
into the Hoot Hoot.
Yeah.
Brian, why don't they listen to us?
I know, right? If you put the last Hoot down, you wouldn't have drew into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm saying. So, okay, so does Pep bench the Hoot Hoot here?
Well, it's too late now.
Well, true.
Yep, Arvin comes down here.
That can get us Ultra Ball for Guardy EX. We're already going to have the energy in the discard. Man, so now Sam is in a really good position.
Yeah, because now he's got the Clefairy on the board, and pretty much anything is knocking out that Raging Bolt there.
So the other question is, would it have been better for Pep to Burst Roar?
Probably, yeah. I mean, you have 4 cards right now, and instead you could just start with the 6 fresh cards. Yeah.
Right. Now, granted, with this Raging Bolt goes down, Pep will have like a clean way to, we can counter catcher, we can do other stuff. We just don't have a lot of great attackers at this time.
And it's so good to just be able to knock out with the Scream Tail here.
It is, because now there's a single prizer in the active.
Yeah, single prizer hitting straight for 240.
And then Pheasantipity goes down. Man, this is tough.
And Sam is just...
And Brian, the next card was the energy.
I know.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, so we do see the flip the script. And that's a pretty good hand overall.
Yeah, not too bad.
So the only downside is I don't know what Pep's prize map is from here.
Yeah.
Because with Sam down at 4, there's a lot of 2 prizers down for Pep. How does Pep accelerate the game?
Yeah, I feel like he just needs to really utilize the 1 prizer super well here. I think he needs to use the Fan Rotom here to knock out. I think you have to put down the 3rd Hoot Hoot here, just because you're going to need the Noctowl eventually.
Agreed.
Yeah, maybe just like do that and then Iono. That could be like a... But then Sam preemptively putting down the Pheasantipity is also a really good play too, because now as soon as that Disruption card comes by, there's like no more out for Sam. Or no, for Pep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we do see the Fan Rotom come in.
Yep.
And then here's the only question. You got to bench the Hoot Hoot.
You got to. I feel like you have to here.
Why are we not?
Yeah.
Our bench isn't full.
No, it's not full.
Oh, we just knockout.
Just
hold
take
the
the
hand.
knockout.
But why not bench
Yeah.
now?
Or even use the supporter. You have the Iono in hand. Might as well put your opponent to 4.
I actually do like holding the supporter because that way now maybe Pep can use it with a bear knockout on Fez or something like that and make it much harder for Sam to win the game.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's only the 1 out to disrupt anymore.
Yeah.
And so he really needs to save that. But then maybe we use Hoot Hoot or Noctowl to go get like a Sada or something like that.
Yeah.
But regardless, we do see Sam go into the Gardevoir. We see another Gardevoir come down. We are tied on prizes, so Counter Catcher isn't active.
Yeah, no Counter Catcher. Ooh, and now we see some stuff coming down here. What do we take out?
I actually agree with the Teal Dance going out.
Yeah, I think you gotta have to take out the Ogre Pawn here.
And this is why with that Hoot Hoot coming down, maybe you get rid of the bolts. Like, you don't really lose anything else.
Yeah.
All right, so with the Scream Tail coming down, Sam will be able to snipe still, but we can't gust. There's no room for an Iron Bundle.
There's no Monkey Dory either.
Right, so Sam's taking a single prize this turn.
Yeah.
And that is immense for Pep because now Pep has a chance to get back into the game.
Yeah, it definitely is. Oh, this is tough.
We did flip the script, so we have a full hand. So what do you think Samuel knocks out? I know what I think.
I think you just have to take out the Hoot Hoot here.
100%.
Yeah, just got to take out the Hoot Hoot.
And so then it's challenging for Pep because Sam has a 1 prize in the active.
Yeah.
Pep needs to take a 2 prize knockout this turn.
Yep. And there's no way really for so I think the Fan Rotom's gonna have to trade back into it, and then Sam's kind of just like up on the prize trade.
And we do only hit into the Fez for 120. So in that case, if that's what we're gonna do, I'd like to see it hit for 160.
Yeah, I would have liked that too, just because then you can kind of set up Monkey Dory to kind of finish the job. But yeah, I don't know. Either that or you kind of have to go for like that Bravery Charm kind of play where you just take the whole entire knockout.
Agreed.
Yeah, because he had the Bravery Charm in hand, but maybe just didn't have the enough energy.
I think we did have some, but regardless, like I think what Sam wanted to do is not go ahead on prizes.
Yeah.
And then force Pep to have to like reach in order to take a knockout here.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, Pep's gonna be able to do. And actually, I do not want to see the Sada here. I would really want to see that Crispin
Yeah,
plate.
absolutely. I agree too.
So if we could see Prime and then an Area 0, that feels like the best option.
Yeah, definitely.
Although, do we not have an Area 0?
Ooh, we do have one.
Okay,
That's
okay,
the
so
last
we got
one.
the one. So then, Brian, is it we knock out Clefairy? Is it we knock out Fez? What do we go after here?
Kind of depends because actually, I feel like we gotta take out Clefairy if you're gonna be attacking with the Bolt.
So I actually disagree.
Yeah.
I actually think you go after Fez because Fez can be Bravery Charmed and put out a bear range.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's
Clefairy
true.
cannot be put out of bear range.
That is true. Very, very true.
And we do see the Crispin, which I think is a great decision from
Yeah,
Pep.
definitely.
And now with that Prime, we can use 3 energy, even leave an energy on the Ogre Pawn and knock out that Fez. And suddenly now Pep is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, definitely. All of this just because, one turn of just taking a single prize knockout.
Exactly. Go for the Fez. Go for the Fez.
Yeah, we're trying not to be too loud about this too because we've definitely been too loud about it in the past.
No. Us.
Not us.
We do go for the Clefairy.
Yeah, go for the Clefairy, which is good here.
We should bet.
I think we would have kept one of the energy on one of the other Pokemon. I feel like you got to take both of them off the Bolt.
Well, and also, I would have liked to see the Area 0 come down and then put another Hoot Hoot down because now we have no way to
He didn't end
use
up taking
Jewel
Area
Seeker.
0 off the Jewel Seeker.
He did not?
He
He
did
took
not.
a Sada, that's
He
right.
took Sada, yeah.
They got to listen to us, Brian.
Yeah, they do.
All right, so then how does Sam win this game?
Well, Sam wins the game off of Pep whiffing a turn.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's pretty much I feel like the only way I can see it is like Pep just has to whiff a turn, and that's how Sam's able to claw back in.
So the one thing going for Pep is there is not room on Sam's board for Monkey.
Yeah.
And so being able to play around that Budew or Sam benching the Budew again makes it really, really hard for Sam to both use Monkey Dory and get that Clefairy down.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be essential.
It's interesting, though, to see that the Bravery Charm's not going to be coming down, and they just went with the Iono instead.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is?
I don't know, but I feel like you'd want to put it at least on like something like the Fez.
I would tend to agree. On the downside, Pep's hand is ass.
Yeah.
So we have 2 basic future Pokemon, which is not ideal.
We do have the Night Stretcher to bring back the Clefairy.
We do, but to be honest, I think we're knocking out Fezandipity.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, we do get the Night Stretcher for Clefairy. Oh, this opens up a line.
Yeah. I feel like if you grab the Clefairy, you got to hold it.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Because there's no sense in putting down that liability, which I guess without a charm on Fez, it's also a liability, but now there is a line.
Now there's a line.
Oh, but it's not a great line.
Yeah.
All right, so we see the nest ball. And so there's just a series of decisions, Brian, that led us to this place.
I know.
So with Pep's hand then, what do you do? Eduardo, I'm probably not supposed to, but they haven't fired me yet. So here we are.
Here we are.
Please don't fire me, Bryce. So we do see the very beautiful Mew EX come down onto the board. And what does Pep need to see off this one?
He needs to see a lot of cards here, I feel like. I mean, he needs like...
That's very true.
I mean, he needs like... I feel like you need like grass, energy, you need attachment for turn, and you need boss.
I think you literally need to Mew into Earth and Vessel, and then Teal Dance into Boss.
Yeah.
Now, it can happen.
It could.
I don't know if it will.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident it won't.
Oh, looks like he...
Wait, what did he just draw?
I don't think he drew into what he needed.
Drew Hoot Hoot.
And
again!
Again. This is that Hoot Hoot that he could have put onto the bench.
Yes, it is the same Hoot Hoot over and over and over.
Yep.
And so now we're going to have to retreat into that fan rotom or something.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, Sam's pointing out he has enough. Wait, did we just burst roar?
Yeah, he did.
Well, I think he had tried to burst roar followed by boss, which is certainly not allowed. But we do see Sam take the win. Guardy's first win today.
Yeah.
That's not what we expect.
And I feel like it was a win that could have been prevented in a few different ways.
I mean, this will all love to Pep.
Yes.
Sam didn't win. Pep lost.
Pep lost.
Pep, please don't hate me for that. But now we go to our next game, which is that Dragapult Charizard versus Grimmsnarl, like we were talking about.
Yeah, very cool matchup here.
Not going great for Grimmsnarl right now. And we do see Grimmsnarl 6 prizes remaining, 2 Impidimps down, 1 monkey or 2 monkeys, 1 with an energy, and we have a very good board for Connor.
Yeah, very good board. I mean, you see a Polt, there's a Zard. I mean, the research is going to draw way more cards now.
Makara Llama, yes. I think he was just showing that like he was very far away from boss.
Yeah.
All right, but so for Connor, we've got honestly an incredible hand off of that research.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if we've attached yet, but we can get that retreat down. And then probably go into something like that that Dragapult.
I mean, going into Dragapult seems so strong here.
Yeah.
And we do see the energy come down.
Yep.
I think Connor just thinking, how else do I thin the hand?
Yeah, I don't know if there's really much else you can do.
No, but we'll go into the Polt. I don't know if we have a way to spread the damage, but go down to 1 prize remaining and just... I don't know if this is a losable spot for Connor.
Yeah. I mean, going down to what? How many prizes left? 2, 1. Just super tough for Grimmsnarl here.
I know even with like a rare candy into Grimmsnarl or something similar, just you're so far behind.
Yeah, definitely. Not too much you can kind of do here.
We will see the Spikemuth gym, which honestly is such a powerful gym for this.
Absolutely.
Or a stadium.
Yeah.
You just get to get a Marnie's Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think in our current meta too, there's so many good stadiums out there. And it's one of those things where there's like a bunch of different stadiums that offer a lot of different like benefits. And it's funny because it's not like one stadium kind of like dominating like Path of the Peak did back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, anything where we have a variety of competitive stuff, I love that.
Yes.
And I think that's so valuable.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we do see the Iono, and this is the unfortunate part. If Ohas had held looking through that Spikemuth, if he finds a candy, he could attack with Marnie's Grimmsnarl this turn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're drawing 6 cards. I mean, if you would have, just held it.
Well, it's assuming he hit a candy.
Yeah.
We did not hit a candy.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. We see the scoop it up. So Connor with Dragapult Charizard cooks Marnie's Grimmsnarl.
Yeah.
And so, Brian, why do you think Connor did get such an aggressive lead there?
We didn't really get to watch the early game, but I feel like if you have that really strong opening hand where you're able to kind of get the energy into the active and you're able to TM Evo, it's really strong just because you have so many of these different pieces. Like you're able to use the cloaks as your draw, and you're able to like Rare Candy Charizard to accelerate your energy onto the board, and then the Luminous goes into so many different places. Like in my games I played earlier before we started, Luminous energy went onto the Charizard to attack. I've used Luminous on Monkey Dory to move damage. I put it onto the Dragapult so it can attack. So it's such a there's so many different ways that you can kind of play the deck and kind of like build your board out of it that it's just super strong.
I've absolutely attacked with Petty Grudge with Luminous energy more than once.
Definitely.
Like it works.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's tricky because it's special energy. You can't combine it with any other special energy. But in a deck like this, it works so well.
Yeah, it definitely does, because when your only 2 energies that you can use are Luminous energy and Fire energy, you're not really in a position to where it's gonna kind of like clash.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Some of these decks, like you said, play the Neo Upper and Dragapult that doesn't have energy acceleration, but for Dragapult Charizard, I think Unfair Stamp's the ace spec of choice, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Bryce, I think I have a Dragapult Charizard, if you can throw that up. Okay, sweet. But yeah, so why is Unfair Stamp so good in there?
Just because it's one of those things where like it's a slower deck still, even though it is like faster than the traditional Dragapult lists. But as soon as your opponent takes a knockout, you can respond with Unfair Stamp, and all of a sudden now they have 2 cards to work with. So not really much they can do.
No, and an unfair stamp into a research or unfair stamp into Arvin feels
Yeah,
so good.
because you get this powerful effect of disruption, and you still get to use your supporter for turn too.
Yes, and Makani Tran got top 16, but I
Yeah.
believe was an asymmetrical cut with this
Yes.
list.
And also, I know Ryan Antonucci played that list as well, and I
Yes.
also got top 16 as well.
I'm not going to lie, I put Makani Tran because trying to spell Antonucci was very intimidating for
Yes.
me, and I didn't want to screw up the slide.
Yes,
So,
which is very valid. The reason, though, that I really like this list, too, is I also saw Jackson Ford played this list. And
yes.
Jackson Ford, very prominent Charizard player. Super, super good player. And if I see that that's his way of playing Charizard, that's probably the better way to play, like, the archetype.
Well, and he's been one of the, like, what is it? The pioneers with the Charizard Dragapult,
Yeah,
too.
definitely. Yeah.
And so I love this deck. This is the one I've been playing on live when I just want to play some games for
Yeah,
fun.
same with me.
Dude, it's just fun. You could do such cool stuff with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things. I remember when, because Tord played it to NAIC last year.
Yeah.
And I remember after seeing it, I was like, there's no way these two cards can coincide together because they're both kind of rare candy based at the time. But now that you kind of have this way where you can kind of slowly build up the Dragapult and like really like fast, aggressive, accelerate the Charizard, there's really a lot that you can do with it.
So that's one of the interesting things about the format too. A lot of decks, as we've kind of seen, take a slower route and build up their prizes, try to set up a combo. Charizard before was so strong because against racing decks, you raced and responded so quickly, and there were very few things that could hit 330.
Yeah.
Now it's less good in the early game, but that's why Dragapult is so strong because you can set up your own combos, take prizes with Hawlucha and stuff, and by the time they knock out a Dragapult, Charizard's coming in and just clearing the board.
Exactly. Yeah.
So is there anything from this list that you would change, especially as someone who's been playing it a ton?
I mean, part of me really wants more TM Evos, but I know it's kind of hard to kind of fit stuff in the list. Like, there's definitely been times where, I'd really like another TM Evo. Like, that's definitely one that I really wish we kind of had. What else? There was definitely another card that I was really, really wanting. I think, like, if you can get, like, another recovery card, like a stretcher, that could also be pretty decent as well. But the supporter count, I wouldn't change at all. But yeah, I think most of the list is pretty good. Yeah.
I will say this is a deck that takes more advantage of Super Rod than others because Charizard's what is it, Infernal Rain?
Yeah.
It pulls the energy from the deck, so you can't just put it in your hand. You gotta shove it back into the deck.
Definitely, yeah.
But also, I don't mind that because you get so much more value in that card.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so then Brian, if say you were playing in the Invitational this weekend, which you're not, neither am I.
Yeah.
Is this the deck you would bring, or
probably?
All right,
I probably would have played. It's probably either this or Raging Bolt.
Okay, okay. So, Bryce, can you throw up Raging Bolt? Thank you, Bryce. Bryce, can everyone please thank Bryce for just like saving us here because I cannot do both of these at the same time.
Yeah.
So, Brian, why are these your two picks?
Yeah. So I mean, Dragapult Charizard was one that I was just like wanting to play just because I feel comfortable with the archetype. Like, you know, I've played Charizard for a while. I mean, Dragapult was something I've been kind of on and off playing for a bit. So that's kind of like why I picked it. And then Raging Bolt's just one of those decks where like you can keep it simple and try to go 2/2/2, but you also have a lot more flexibility with what you want to do. I actually just built this list too, the one that Yurko played. And it's cool too because that energy switch opens a lot of opportunities for like knockouts with the Ogerpon.
I could believe that.
Yeah, and it's cool too because you can also accelerate the Baby Bolt a lot earlier.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of things you can do. Yeah, you can
Teal Dance and then shove it on.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, Teal Dance. You can E-switch, and you can either Crispin or Sada onto the Baby Bolt, and you can kind of use that like really early into the game too. So it's super solid.
Incredibly good.
Yeah,
and you can Noctowl for it.
And you can Noctowl for it. Yeah,
that's a big deal. And so this does play the one Insomnia Hoot, which really it's really just there so Dragapult can't snipe it as easily. But still, it's a very straightforward, kind of simple list with really, like you said, the energy switch is really the only wrinkle here.
Yeah, definitely. It seems pretty similar to like what I had built before, which was the Christian Labella list.
Yeah.
And I think I changed out only like 4 or 5 cards.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. There's not a lot of, like, not complexity. And no, honestly, I'll say complexity.
Yeah.
Because you still want to go boom boom with Bellowing Thunder. You want to accelerate with Teal Dance.
Yep.
You want to use your Noctowls to get a piece you want out. Like, there's not a ton you'd really want to change. Adding the second Crispin, I think, is good. Because not everything was playing 2 Crispin.
Yeah. I think Labella's was playing 2 Crispin.
Oh, was it?
I think so, yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's pretty solid. I mean, being able to have 6 ways to get energy onto the board is really good.
It is very good.
Yeah, and I also like, because I think Labella only played 2 Area 0. So going up to 3, keeping the Jamming Tower, and the 6th Grass Energy are also another like big thing for like consistency.
And this is a deck I think where consistency is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another difference too is it plays Iono instead of Judge.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, yes. So which do you think is better in a deck like this?
Yeah, I think it depends because I feel like if you play Judge, you're going to want to play it earlier into the game to disrupt your opponent's setup. And if you want to play Iono, it's going to be looking to play that at the end of the game to keep your opponent's hand size low.
And that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And so, Makara Lama, I hope I'm saying that right, but Labella with the lower area 0 count, 5 grass, like, if you can make those cuts and just have more power spike cards elsewhere, that's not bad.
Yeah, and I feel like I like the extra stadiums because there are a lot of times where opponents are going to want to like play like that stadium war. So being able to kind of have those outs to the different stadiums are really big.
Awesome. Llama, I appreciate it.
All right, sounds
good.
It
makes my life so much easier.
Makes
Thank
our
you, my
lives
friend.
Easier.
No, so Brian, I think it's a good point. And I think this is a deck that is very competitive. And to be honest, for a best of 3, I really like stuff like Dragapult because you have more leeway. For a best of 1, dude, this deck seems like a really good fit.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially for like the Invitational where it's going to be best of 1 initially in Swiss. You're going to have to survive Swiss somehow. And if you're get a really slow Dragapult setup, you're not making it to cut.
No, not at all.
Yep.
And by the way, as Bryce was looking over there, I thought of this. Guys, I haven't asked you to follow us. Or sub or anything like that. And I keep forgetting to do that. But listen, y'all, we're here. I would appreciate if you guys could follow, especially in advance of our invitational. Like,
yeah, and our other events coming up too. Just because now that if you guys keep up with when the streams are starting and stuff like that, you can stay on top of it for when we start these events.
Absolutely. And I will say for the sub, I get literally $0.00. So I appreciate that, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But for the follows and everything, we would love that. And Bryce, can you actually throw up the invitational slide?
Yeah.
Because now, Brian, since we have a break, seems like a good time to talk about this.
Yeah, definitely.
And so this is our league invitational. We've talked about a bunch, but we had the top players from our local community qualify, and we had players qualify automatically for doing well at our challenges.
Yep.
Top 8 of our cup qualified, and then the top 12 players who have earned points here in the last couple months, they've all earned a chance to come play in our invitational. We'll have 5 rounds, asymmetrical cut, top cut, for $500 in store credit and a sick trophy.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a cool way to give back to the community just because they've been really good to us lately. I mean, we have such great turnout lately.
We do.
We're getting a lot of people coming out to play, and this is just another way to kind of give back to them and give them another cool opportunity to compete.
And also, they're good people.
Yeah.
I legitimately like hanging out with these people.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If we can give them a chance to kind of show off like what they're good at, we'll talk about their successes, what they've done well in tournaments. It'd be awesome to have you guys out for that.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we have a couple other big events coming up that we want to talk about. So one is our charity of, well, actually, do we have a 3v3 thing up there, Bryce?
Yeah.
Let's talk about 3v3 first. 3v3, this is just cool. We don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but this is just cool. And
shout out Raw for making these too. Because
I
look at the little graphic on the bottom right there, and I was like, oh, that's like a cool little way to kind of like make it spruce it up a little bit and all that stuff. So
dude,
shout
absolutely.
out to Raw.
Shout out Riverfall. If you're still watching, thank you, man. Awesome to have you doing this stuff. And so, Brian, 3v3, we got a team battle finally.
Yeah, which is cool because I was never around when like the team challenge stuff was kind of happening in Pokemon. So being able to kind of look over and see like, oh, look, this is what we're kind of doing like team wise. Like it's a cool way to kind of interact and make Pokemon more like a team game than just like a 1 versus 1 kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for this 3v3, it is still 3 players playing against 3 players and one-on-one matches, but the wrinkle is you can help your teammates out. So if you're sitting in the middle seat, you can provide feedback, ask questions, like help each of your other teammates play through their game and make decisions. So it really ends up being a team like battle, not just you play your round and then see how everyone else did.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like one of those things too where you can kind of like talk to your team about it too.
Yeah.
Like be like, hey, like what's the most optimal thing? Like or like what do you think I could do this turn to kind of go like because sometimes like someone on your team might have a better matchup knowledge going into your opponents. So being able to kind of do that could really help kind of sharpen up the play.
For sure. And this is going to be for money. We don't know how much, but a lot probably.
Yeah.
So we pretty much all of our events are at least a 1K. So be excited. There will be some good prizing here.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, and Brian, this is the most important thing to me.
Yeah, definitely. This is the one I'm probably the most excited for. And I'm glad that even though I'm not able to make it out for the Invitational this weekend, I can actually make it out for these other 2 events.
Fantastic. Good. And so the last thing we have is our charity showdown. So I need to reformat this slide. But in July 26th, we are going to have a charity showdown with the Nerd Rage team and some top players. And by top players, I mean won multiple regionals this year players. I mean top 16 in the world players.
Yeah, we're talking world's competitors. We're talking regional winners. Like
we're talking like when you sit down across from these guys, you say, "What are you having for lunch?"
Yeah.
Like it's going to be good. And so the reason I'm so excited about this, and I'm sure it is for you too, Brian, is this is all going to be in support of the Trevor Project.
Yeah,
which is provides suicide prevention and crisis intervention resources for LGBTQ youth. And Brian, I mean, do you know much about this organization?
I have in the past, like I've done my research ever since we kind of agreed on this, but I feel like in both of our lines of work, this is very important that we're kind of being able to contribute to this.
Yes, and Llama, I'm sure the Foy Coco would still be inspiring. But for this, so like Brian said, Brian is a nurse.
Yes.
And I am a therapist. So I work in a higher level of care where people come to therapy full time because of the severity of what they're dealing with. And I will tell you guys, there is such a need for resources and support for people in crisis. Like, this is a really valuable organization.
Yeah, and even like with like my work in the hospital setting, there's so many times where I hear that we need to have like technicians like pulled from the floors to go into our emergency department just because there is like that possibility of like, you know, some sort of suicide or self-harm. So, you know, a lot of our resources are going to this. So being able to contribute to a charity and a cause that is able to assist the youth with their mental health services, it's really a great thing for us to be able to contribute to. And as well as that, I mean, we like this game so much, but we still want to give back. You know? We just want to give back.
Like, we have so much fun playing Pokemon. Let's take some time and give some effort to try to do some good with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this is one thing, and I say this not to get political, but the current administration is defunding resources for LGBT youth and to protect, like, suicide prevention resources. So for me, it is just another opportunity where there is a real true need here. And if we can help even in a small way, like, we want to be able to.
Yeah, and I mean, we see it in our day-to-day lives. It affects our work, and it's one of those things where like if we're able to contribute to something in a positive way, as well as being able to use our hobby as a way to kind of show that, it's something we'll say yes to any day of the week. And I mean, we have an incredible cast of competitors coming down to assist with this. So hopefully everyone can kind of like pop by. We have a lot of stuff we're giving away, and stuff like that. So we're just hoping to raise money for a good cause.
Agreed. And so for our last one with the Lost Zone Kitchen, which by the way, we'll make sure to shout them out because it's our idea for the first one. But for the last one, we raised $2,100 for the Chicago or Greater Chicagoland Food Depository. So
absolutely.
We got high hopes. So please, if you want to donate, great, send it to your mom, send it to your cousin, send it to your Yu-Gi-Oh playing friends. Whoever, it's none of the money's going to us. It's all going to be for a good cause.
Yeah, all is coming, and some of it's coming out of our own pockets too. Because I know, like
100%.
Dan, when you were in Japan, you bought a lot of stuff for this event too. So, being able to kind of just like do this and kind of like put this stuff together, it really shows that it's coming from our heart. You know,
for sure. And from our heart, I mean, from the Pokemon Card Lounge in Tokyo, you will get exclusive things you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, nowhere else. Yeah.
Tons of Pokemon Center stuff. We got some great things.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be able to be raffled off.
Yes. And so we'll get you guys more details as we go. But yeah, listen, if y'all attend or pay attention to nothing else, come to this one.
Yeah,
this is where we need your support.
Absolutely.
All right, so then, Brian, getting back to the topic at hand of Pokemon, we talked a little bit about it, but we have some people planning for some shenanigans this weekend for their decks. So what are some of the weird rogue decks that you expect to be good? And Bryce, can you throw up the toad?
So we were talking about Ray Chen earlier. Shout out to Ray Chen that she was able to qualify for Worlds within 2 events.
Absolutely insane.
This is crazy. This is my brother's favorite Pokemon.
Toadscruel?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's just such a goofy Pokemon. That's why he likes Toadscruel a lot. So
it's
funny too
Pokemon.
Because a year ago when Obsidian Flames came out, he saw this card come out and he's like, I want to play this deck. It was never good, but now it's good.
I'll be honest with you, I'm still not entirely sure it's good, but Ray Chen has smoked people with it. So.
And it's funny too because I told him about it. I was like telling my brother, I was like, this deck is like doing super well right now. It plays super well, and he was like, "I've been trying to tell people from the start, even though he hasn't." But he's just trying to say that he's been a Toad Squirrel believer.
Well, so I will say this deck is fascinating.
It is very fascinating.
So can you tell us what Toad Squirrel EX even does?
Yeah, so 270 HP, protective mycelium or something like that.
Mycelium.
Mycelium,
yes.
Yeah. So
fungus.
Yeah, so if your Pokemon has an energy on it, grass energy on it, then
it is any energy. Never mind.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Then it's going to be immune from effects of attacks, I believe.
Yes.
So this is big into stuff like Dragapult, just because, or even like, does it prevent damage too?
No, only effects. So
only
placing damage counters, yes, but not damage.
Not damage. But either way, grass is a very relevant typing because it takes big knockouts into stuff like Grimmsnarl, Charizard. Anything that has like a grass weakness is super good into that. And just being able to take advantage of Area 0, because that Colony Rush does 80 damage for, I think it's each Pokemon with an energy attached to it.
So it does 80 damage base and then 40 additional damage for each of your bench Pokemon that has grass energy on it.
So taking advantage of Teal Mask Ogerpon and an energy switch, throughout many turns, pretty much your entire bench and all the Pokemon are going to have some sort of grass energy on it.
Absolutely. And 12 grass energy, 4 of the bug catching set, which is hilarious to me that this now has 2 top 8 finishes associated with it.
Definitely.
Which says just look at the top 7 cards of your deck, grab 2 in any combination of basic grass or grass Pokemon or basic grass energy. Dude, that's so good when you play 12 grass energy and 7, 8, 15, a whole lot of grass Pokemon.
Yeah, it's funny too, just because there's no Earthen Vessel in this list.
Nope.
But bug catching set gets you there.
Why would you need it? When you can just look at the top 7?
I know, right?
And I should actually do the math here. So 7, 8, 12, 14 grass Pokemon. So you have 26 outs in your deck for bug catching set to hit. You're probably going to hit it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so, Brian, like you were saying, so this is great in the grass type weakness. The Protective Mycelium does block Dragapult from placing damage counters. Also blocks Monkey Dory Confusion, which is kind of funny. But
that is kind of funny.
But the Slime Mold Colony ability also shuts off Night Stretcher, and it shuts off Superior Energy Retrieval.
And I remember that this was played originally to prevent like Superior Energy Retrieval when like Reggie Drago and like Chen Pao would play. And I remember that was the only time that this card got played. But now it's actually like relevant as like, attack into like all those other cards in this current format, which is crazy to see.
Dude, shutting up Night Stretcher is big. Completely ending Goldengo's existence is big.
Especially since Goldengo has a resistance to grass.
It does.
Yeah.
So it takes you a little bit to work your way through that one.
Yeah. So it looks like we're getting into our final match here.
Which is fantastic. And we actually have Goldengo versus Enzorark.
Yeah. So both players were on the stream a little bit earlier. So it'll be kind of cool to see how Ryan approaches this matchup versus that Archaludon one.
And honestly, I would love to see, I think he's debating whether or not to attach to the monkey or to the Zorua.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I feel like you attach... Yeah, I think that's okay. I feel like either one is okay to attach to.
I think either one is okay. Yeah. You're not going to be able to use Ends Castle to retreat this guy.
Yeah, unfortunately, but
that doesn't matter when Steven's hand is terrible.
Yeah. You got a lot of superiors. You got a couple superiors. You got energy.
That's the thing.
That's the thing about Goldengo. It's like it's got such a rough early game, but as soon as you're able to survive the early game, you pretty much are unstoppable.
Well, so now here's gonna be the question. Oh gosh, does Steven just say, "I want to survive a turn"?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either because this is a tricky question because we can go get a Goldengo with this.
Yeah.
Or we can get a basic, but if we get a basic, we don't have any way to get another one out.
And I think Steven's kind of banking on Ryan not having that out.
Which, to be fair,
to donk,
Ryan's board does not look like he's going to get a donk off.
Yeah.
But does Steven want to take that chance?
I don't know.
I also don't. What would you do in this situation?
I'd probably get a second bench Pokemon. Yeah, I'd probably get the extra. I would try to see if I can do my best to play the game.
I'm actually torn.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the safe bet, and then you just minor errand running.
Yeah.
But I would definitely be torn about just going to get a Goldengo.
Yeah.
Because the issue is you're still in top deck mode if you get a basic. So the question is...
Yeah, that's true.
Do I think it's more likely that Ryan knocks me out this turn? Do I think it's more likely that I top deck an out to a basic or to an
Yeah.
evolution? And Wooshcat, I love the
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
And Llama, get Goldango and
Yeah.
Prey, let's ball out.
Yeah, might have to.
Well, we'll see. So Brian, getting that Goldango, we're gonna mine our errand run. I don't think Steven's got anything else.
Yeah, looks like it.
So,
Oh, looks like he's going for the minor errand. Okay.
so one thing I would say, I actually would have really liked to see Steven put that jamming tower down.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, definitely. Just because kind of prevents other stuff like the rigid, was it the rigid band?
Well, the
Yeah.
bigger deal is it prevents rescue board.
Yeah,
Because then that would allow Ryan to just manually attach to the bench
that's
and then
true.
rescue board back.
Very true.
But I don't actually know if Ryan plays rescue board.
He does.
Okay.
I do believe. I think I just saw it.
So then that could be a big deal in
Yeah.
enabling Ryan to win this game right here and now.
Okay, Serrano coming down here. He's going to be setting up for the next turn here.
So if Ryan does find a rescue board, he wins.
Yes.
If he does not, Steven survives a turn.
Yes.
So it's always fun to gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. I will definitely do so.
Yeah.
Thank you, Whoosh Cat, for joining. All right, so then Brian, what are we trading?
Gotta take a look at the hand again, but probably just I don't know if we trade the energy and hope we draw until like ends PP up, or I think there's only 2 cards that he has in his hand.
I think we trade the Pal Pad.
Yeah, the Pal Pad. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Pal Pad could be good in general, but
yeah.
I don't
It's not
know.
useful right now.
It is not.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, why not just go for the win?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Oh, we do trade the energy.
Trades the energy. Boss.
Okay, well,
catcher.
never mind.
All
That's
right,
fine.
Well,
All right.
okay.
Well, Steven does survive the turn.
Yeah.
And now, Ryan's actually in a little bit of an uncomfortable position because things aren't looking
Yeah.
great. Oh, and a
Oh.
top deck of another Gimme Ghoul for Steven.
Yeah. But now the thing too to think about too is now Steven's gonna need to discard 3 energy in order to knock out this Monkey Dory.
Or, counterpoint, he just goes and murders the Darumaka.
That could also be an option too. And that's
So-
what he does.
Which I think is the right choice because the other issue is with the Darumaka, it doesn't need to use Darmanic Cannon to knock out a Goldango because the
That's true.
first attack says this does 20 or 30 times the number of energy in your opponent's discard pile.
Yeah,
And with that fire weakness, that can one-shot Goldango super easily.
definitely.
And now Ryan is a little torn.
Yeah, and I think last turn he could have. Did he put the Darumaka down his first turn?
He did.
So he could have evolved it, right? Yeah.
He could have. And I'm not actually sure why he didn't.
Yeah.
Any ideas?
Couldn't tell you, but looks like we're gonna start trading here.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I think that is the move right now is we draw through our deck and see if there's something else we can use to attack.
Yeah.
Like finding a Reshiram would be very, very good
Oh
here.
yeah, definitely.
So then what are we trading first?
Yeah, maybe the boss we can trade because we can always Palpet it back and Countercatcher is active instead, which is probably much better.
Yes, because it'll still enable us to play something
Yeah.
like Cypher Maniacs.
Yep.
Turo goes down, not the most helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do not think we want to play that Artisan.
Yeah. It's not looking too good right now.
It's not. We don't really have any cards.
Ooh.
Oh, we do go with it. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not too keen on it either, but seeing if we can maybe do it.
Smoky Llama,
Yeah.
that is the love we need to
Yeah.
see for Steven. Dang. And to be fair, Steven is playing really well. He's 3-0 today,
Yeah.
like in a very good position.
Yeah,
and
whenever he comes down here, he always does a good job.
he is.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's a great player. And
Yeah.
also, I love he's always intentionally trying to improve.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely appreciate that. All right. And then we see our last trade for Ryan. And see the Zorak
Yeah.
go.
Oh, we got the
see
energy.
the dark.
There we go.
Okay, so this is huge.
Yeah.
This is like game-changingly big because now this gives Ryan an opportunity to apply pressure.
Yep.
And so, do we just hit with Reshiram?
I think we just do.
And here's the other question. Do we knock out the bench Gimme Ghoul?
Ooh, that could also be an option as well, but I feel like ooh, that's a good question because I feel like that Gimme Ghoul can turn into a Goldango and then now we have 2 of them to worry about.
And that's kind of my
Yeah.
thought, is I
Yeah.
think knocking out the Gimme Ghoul, number one, it reduces Steven's draw.
Yeah.
But it also is another attacker he has to try to build up.
Yeah.
It gives us an option where if he's not able to reach a one-shot on Zoroark, we can just clear the board. I feel like it's got to be the move, right?
Yeah. That does sound right. And it looks like that's what he's looking to do.
Just debating. So why do you think he would attack into the active Goldango?
Probably because he's got to two-shot it anyways.
True.
Yeah, I feel like either way, you kind of have to two-shot it unless you're using, like, the Darumaka to attack.
And that's a fair point.
Yeah.
All right, we will see the counter catcher and the knockout.
Yep. Looks like that's what we're seeing here.
Yep.
Reshiram knockout.
Brian takes one prize, goes to even prizes. We see a Rigid Band.
Rigid Band's probably going to be good for this matchup, too, because it's just going to require more out of the Goldango to take knockouts.
Yes. And so with 3 energy in the discard, that Superior is pretty good.
Yeah.
Dragapult's not super helpful.
Yeah, definitely not.
But with the Artisan and with the Night Stretcher, Steven's going to be able to set up a bit of a board. Yeah. Oh, that makes a fair point, too. Setting up for a Darumaka knockout could be very good.
Yeah, because, I mean, with the weakness, you kind of take advantage of that, too.
True. Unfortunately, with no, like, Darumaka on the board, I don't think that's going to be an out for Ryan right now.
I don't think so either.
So then, looking at this board, Brian, does Steven get 2 Gimme Ghoul down? It looks like a Dreepy.
Yeah, it looks like the Dreepy's coming down for extra draw support, and then there is a Night Stretcher in the hand that we could use to get the Gimme Ghoul back.
Which I think is fair, but why do you think the Dreepy is better than another Gimme Ghoul?
Just because I feel like it's more reliable draw from the bench. So once that goes into Dracloak, it's just more reliable.
And I think that can make sense. Yeah. Oh, and because you just see the Gimme Ghoul anyway.
Exactly.
That's fine. Right. All right, so we are able to get the Gimme Ghoul down. We have a boss in hand. We have a Superior in hand.
Yep.
So we could boss and take a knockout, but that's going to be a lot of resources.
Yeah, definitely. So grabbing that Gimme Ghoul as well.
And that would also be our second boss.
Yeah. Part of me is thinking, like, what if he just bosses, like, the Ursaluna to stall for a turn?
I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah. Could have some merit. Taking out the Reshiram is also pretty solid, too.
Oh, that is... Oh, I guess that's actually not too bad.
Yeah.
Really, the loss of the Superior is the biggest part.
Yeah. I think we'd need 4 energy, though, to knock out the Reshiram, right?
3.
3?
Because it's 130 HP.
Oh, 130. Okay, I thought it had 170 for some reason. Oh,
it does 170.
Yeah, that's it.
I always mix up those numbers on Bear, too.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, so we do see the knockout on Reshiram. We can go back into Zoroark, go down to 4 prizes for Steven, and then for Ryan, we're going to draw a ton of cards, but I don't know what we want to attack with.
Yeah, I don't know.
Llama, the Bucky hat, does slap. I love it.
Yep.
Oh, and we got Pokegear off the prizes. That's huge.
It's funny with the Bucky stuff, too. You can tell who went to Knoxville and San Antonio Regionals just because of those.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, Bucky's is a cultural experience. If you can see it, go check it out.
I know. I was
And whoosh, I also love beef jerky.
Yeah, it was a shock when I went for the first time.
It very much is. All right, so Brian, what is Ryan going to do this turn? Is it just we hit with Reshiram? Do we try to set up for a snipe?
I think the Rigid Band's got to come down too, just because it's going to kind of force more resources out of Steven.
That's true, because that would make it a 7 energy knockout.
Yeah, which is pretty much like only reserved for like knocking out like Dragapult and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so with that, with the Superior Energy Retrieval being down, it could push on Steven's resources to try to pull that off.
Secret Box getting here is really good.
It is. And so if we are limited to a Reshiram attack, is that still fine here?
I still think it's okay, just because I feel like with most of the times you're going to need to two-shot the Goldengos anyway. So that's like my thing about it.
I would tend to agree. To be honest, I still would have liked to see Ryan save a bench spot for that Darumaka.
Yeah, I would like to also.
So why do you think he did bench the bear? Asking because I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I was thinking because like maybe if he's deciding to like discard the whole hand, like if he played something like Research and he knew that there weren't many ways to get it back, I couldn't see it. But I feel like it's going to be kind of a liability at this point.
I would tend to agree.
Yeah.
And so we do have the Night Stretcher in hand. Bear Defiance does KO Dango. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so we are going to be able to get Reshiram back if we need. And I think they
Yeah.
do run Defiance
Yeah,
Band
he
Llama.
does run. Yeah, he does. So tough to see here.
So Monkey, unfortunately, is not the most helpful. Tony also loved the support for Steven. Do we gotta let Steven know he's got a cheering section here?
Yeah, a lot of support coming out for Steven today.
So then I see Ryan, he's got a ton of resources in hand, trying to carefully conserve them.
Yeah.
But he also knows that Steven probably plays a single disruption card.
Yeah.
So his hand's going to be able to build and build.
Yeah, and it's tough too because I definitely think he wants 2 spots, one for like the Darumaka and one for the Reshiram, but he only has one available. So it's going to be kind of tough to see which one he wants to prioritize in this situation.
And that's why I wonder if bunching Monkey was necessary here.
Or even the bear. Because the Monkey, because I feel like Monkey's fine.
But the only reason I say no on Monkey is there are very rare times when Steven's going to attack without taking a one-shot.
Yeah.
And so in other matchups, absolutely, because 310 is hard to get over.
Yeah. Oh, he did start with Monkey. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He started the Monkey. Yes, good call. All right, so we see the Rigid Band, the Zora, and the Dark Energy go down. And we're going to be able to use that Secret Box to get a Stadium, a Tool Card, an item, and a Supporter.
Yeah.
The Devo is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how much use we'd get from the Devo.
Don't know either. Starting Monkey was a bold move, and I
think
don't know if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think that was his only option.
Oh.
Okay.
So, hello, Llama.
Yeah.
It's always good to find friends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are we about to Turo this bear?
I would hope so, because I think you need the extra spots.
That feels horrible.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great. Like, you have one supporter per turn, and this is like kind of like what you have to do, you know?
On the bright side, there isn't another supporter Ryan wants to play right now, I think.
That's true.
Because we could Iono, but he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
We are going to get the Darumaka. I think we are going to...
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin, exactly.
Yeah.
Whoops, all llamas. Not what I had on my bingo card today. All right, and we do Turo. Do you think it'll be Monkey or Bear?
I feel like it's got to be Bear, because I don't think you want to give up another 2-prizer on something like that.
I would tend to agree, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Monkey.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan's having the same conversation we are, just in his head.
In his head. Oh, okay.
So we go with the Bear.
Yep.
We bench the Reshiram.
Yep.
All right, so he's at least listening to us, which is good.
Yeah.
This is not usually what happens, guys.
I know, it isn't. we're actually more surprised, if anything.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so we see the Rigid Band come down, and then I imagine we're just going to hit for 170 with Reshiram.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. Yeah.
And then next turn, we will nicely encourage an increase in pace of play for Ryan.
Definitely.
For those who are at a regional and your opponent does this, it is always okay to ask them to increase their pace of play. Never feel bad doing so.
Yeah.
All right, so we do see a hit for 170, and now going into Steven's turn, figuring out what the heck that does.
Yeah. Interesting card.
It is. From the 151 set.
Yeah.
Didn't see a ton of play, but okay. We're about to be gaming.
Yeah, we really are. So, we should get the dice are massive. Yeah, that's the only way so people can accurately see what's going on the stream.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what we're trying to get off of this.
I think
here.
Cypher.
Yeah, Cypher would be pretty good here, but
or
we whiff on it.
Nothing, but that's fine too.
Yeah.
And whoosh, yes, that is exactly the point.
Yeah.
So I mean, still, we can Arvin for eSearch Pro,
eSearch
and
Pro.
we're fine.
Yeah, and that's really all you kind of need. I mean, as soon as you have the eSearch Pro along with some of those other superior energy retrievals, you can be able to get a really big knockout here.
So we could also draw first and then use eSearch Pro, or maybe what Steven's saying is, I would rather go into the deck, thin stuff out, and then coin bonus to try to hit like evolutions.
Yeah, that could also be an option as well.
So the big risk for Ryan is if the stadium gets bounced and a knockout is taken, it could be kind of hard for him to get back into it.
Yeah, definitely. So see after the shuffle here what he's going to decide to do. If it's going to be either one of the decisions that we kind of made.
So I also would have really liked to see... Oh, Artisana's gone. Never mind. So yeah. So I think it's going to have to be the coin bonus if we're shuffling.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. Yeah, so the Arven's going to come down here. Going to grab probably the eSearch Pro.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Assuming it's in the deck.
Yeah, it
is in the deck.
Yeah. Yeah, eSearch Pro and then the TM Evo as well, just for some discard fodder. And then going to grab one of each energy off of that.
And luckily, I guess, or unluckily,
yeah,
there's a lot of options still in the deck.
Yeah. So 5 energies there, and then Superior Energy Retrieval will be able to get us up to the 7 that we need.
Yes. And now, granted, that's really, really good for Steven, especially going down to 2 prizes. What's bad is that it's now 7 energy for Steven, and we are down 2 Superior and our eSearch Pro. So Ryan hitting an Iono here, down to 2, plus being able to knock out this Goldango, if there aren't any more Dangos on the bench, could be really scary.
Absolutely.
But we'll see, because maybe we have a coin bonus of all time here.
Yeah, it could be. So we still have the coin bonus.
What do we see?
Yeah.
Well, we see an Arven, and that could be good, but we've got no evolutions.
I know, it's tough.
And so the other option that Ryan has here too is if Steven does go down to 2 prizes remaining, Ryan can go into that Darmanitan and then attack with the first attack to knock out Goldango and leave a 1 prizer in the active and say you have to both gust and knockout if you want to win the game.
Yeah, definitely. Or even if he's able to get the reversal energy, he can take a 3 prize turn and keep himself on even prizing, which is also another cool thing too.
100%.
Yeah.
So the only good thing for Steven is if Steven wants, he can attach a medal to one of the bench gimme goals, which I think would be really good.
Yep. Looks like we're going with the 7, the big 7 attack here. I want to kind of see maybe attach that metal energy.
And it looks like he's deciding not to. Taking the 2 prizes, and then the Ends Castle remains in play, which is a big, big deal for Ryan.
Definitely. He's going to have that
draw.
pivot.
All right, so I mean, we've got the Iono, we've got the Devo, we've got Darmanitan. And so now it's just about whether or not we want to Iono first and then draw, or draw and then Iono.
I don't know. Usually I like having the Iono first, but it kind of really depends on the situation here.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I think, especially with the Devo, I think what Ryan could do is attach the Devo to basically anything.
Yeah.
And just say that I want to have an out to at least knock out this Goldango with the Devo. Going on the monkey seems fine too, because you could just attach and not feel like you wasted the attachment.
Yeah.
And the castle is very, very good for Ryan because it enables so much flexibility.
Yeah, definitely. So 2 cards. That picnic basket?
That is such an interesting card. Do you know what that does, Ryan?
Isn't it a healing card?
It heals 30 damage from everyone.
Yeah.
And every Pokemon. All right, so we do have Ends PP up. We do have energy.
Yeah. So we're able to power up a Zoroark here.
We are. We're actually able to power up the Darumaka too, should we desire.
That's true.
Because we can also snipe next turn.
Yeah.
We see the discard and train. All right, so no reversal. So we may just go into the Zoroark.
He could always use double Ends PP up and attach for... No, he can't do that. No, because he would need fire energy.
He does need 2 fire.
No, reversal is the only out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we can Ends PP up and attach, and then use another Ends PP up onto the bench Zoroark and set up for a follow-up Darmanitan Cannon.
Definitely.
I know it's Flame Body Cannon, but I think Darmanitan sounds so much cooler.
Yeah, it sounds so much cooler.
All right, so Ends PP up. Fantastic. Great named card.
Yep.
Manual attach. Do we see another PP up?
Yep, there's one in the hand, so I wonder if we're going to use it. Looks like we're not.
Which I think is fine.
Yeah.
Ryan knows there's very limited disruption on Goldango's end.
Yeah. So he kind of knows that he's going to be able to keep those cards.
And so then, we will double snipe and knock out. Ooh, going for a Dreepy.
For the Dreepy, okay.
Why do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just because of that power of, like, draw from the bench. Because, I mean, one of these gimme goals is going to become a Goldango. So that's going to be able to draw 2. But then the only other one's going to be able to draw 1. But this Iono seems to do pretty well here. Besides, wow, never punished. Never punished.
What a pickup for Steven.
Yeah. Still not everything he needs, because, I mean, he needs energy as well. He's going to need a lot of pieces here, but being able to get the Goldengo back into play is already a good start.
It is a huge start. So he really, in order to win this game, is going to need a superior, and he's going to need 7 energy.
Yeah.
And that is a big ask because that's 2 superiors. And we're already down 2 superiors.
Yeah.
So, especially with this Night Stretcher coming down to get the Pokemon back, it's going to be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, with Ryan going down to 2 prizes as well, he's 1 Gus Darumaka snipe away from closing out the game himself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think Steven plays that Buddy Poffin first?
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to, just so you can really maximize like what you can get out of the coin bonus.
Well, he needs 7 because he needs to manually attach to the active.
Yeah.
And I agree. There's also a superior energy retrieval at the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if you want to draw into that raw,
yeah,
you're going to want to shuffle it up.
Definitely. Yeah, and just being able to thin stuff out of the deck too also just helps in general.
It does. And so we'll be able to get a Gimme Ghoul out. Oh, but that's it.
That's the only thing.
So, I mean, there's outs, and there are 2 more Goldengo on top of the deck.
Yeah.
My goodness. All right. So, we're going to see what Steven can get here. So, Brian, what is a combination of cards that gets this?
So you're going to have to coin bonus, and then it's probably like, oh man, I don't even, like, I feel like you got to get, like, if you get Cypher, you're definitely in a better position.
You're actually not, because you can't draw anymore.
That's true. Well, Cypher for one of the cards. I feel like if you get, like, Cypher for one of the cards, you can, like, and, like, yeah, you need a lot of stuff. Yeah, I feel like you need Fez here.
I think we need Superior Fez.
All right, well, or you can just get something else to draw more cards. Yeah.
I agree with Ryan's sentiment of, oh boy.
Oh, and he got Fez too.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Well.
Jeez.
Okay. Well, you know, sometimes you just got it like that. And we Fez for Watchtower. We can't Goldengo. We are still not there. I don't actually think we can get there at this point.
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like the Watchtower going down will also help too, because now Ryan can't freely retreat like he has been the last few turns.
It can certainly buy him a turn.
Yeah.
But we still get to draw with the bench Goldengo. But yeah, we don't have a way to win the game anymore. And so we'll see the last coin bonus.
Yep. Superior.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
We were like so close.
So close to greatness.
Yeah.
But we do definitely put down that Watchtower because we need to apply pressure to Ryan and stop him from being able to switch. And so now the question is, how much energy is in Steven's discard? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is 240 damage with Zorar copying it, or there's an ends PP up and attach on Darmanitan.
Yeah.
That's a one-shot.
That is a one-shot.
And Steven wisely
yeah, I think he's thinking that could be a possible out.
And so now Steven's probably thinking, do I have to play the Superior to pull it out of the discard?
Yeah, he might have to.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it definitely is. He's eyeing the Turo also. I wonder what he would bring up with that. Maybe the Fez?
I don't know. There's nothing that it protects, right? I mean, he could go into the other... Let me say that again. It could, but if he goes into either single prizer, Ryan can win the game again with a snipe.
Yeah.
Backdraft is indeed OP right now.
Yeah.
Oh, and stopping a Gus snipe from a knockout. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like that decision. I think there's probably other ways you can go about this.
Yeah.
We are going to see the Superior. My goodness.
Yeah.
This ended up being a complicated game.
This definitely has been.
Because Steven, even with a very subpar setup, has been able to apply so much pressure so far. And so we see a hand of 4 energy. a picnic basket.
Yeah.
Don't know why we kept that.
Yeah.
And then a watchtower, which I gotta imagine we drop.
It's gotta be.
So I know I'm sitting here quietly, but like I'm wondering what and I don't think you want to promote cloak there, Kevin, because then a Darmanitan snipe also wins the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you gotta
you gotta put it.
Well, we'll see if he does. If he does not, this makes things a lot easier for Ryan.
Oh wow.
Just passing over, and Bryce looks down with shame in his eyes at the screen.
Yeah.
So there are 4 energy in there, which means we are doing 120 with Darmanitan, which is not enough for a knockout. But Ryan can still win this game.
Yeah, he still can. There's still some outs here.
So we'll see the trade. We can trade again. Man, this ended up being a wild one.
Yeah, definitely.
So what does Ryan do to win the game this turn?
Oh, to win this turn, I think you need... Does ends PP up attach win the game onto the Darmanitan?
It does not.
Not anymore.
Because Steven took the energy out of the discard.
Yeah, then I think if you just set... Oh, wait, there is a way.
There is, because ends PP up attach with...
Wait, with Black Belt. Oh, wait. This makes it so much easier.
Oh my goodness, that's it. If we have an ends PP up, we got it. Because we ends PP up, we Whoosh Cat, I would be happy to. So right now, Darmanitan has an attack that says you do 30 damage for each of the basic energy card in your opponent's discard pile. So Steven has 4 in the discard pile, so we would do 120.
Oh wow, last 2 energy.
Plus 40 for the black belt to the EX, puts us at 160. And because Goldango's weak to fire, Ryan was able to use that Darmanitan to one-shot the active Goldango and win the game.
Yeah, that was like some really next-level thinking, too.
That black belt was insane to close that out.
Definitely.
All right, so Brian, anything you saw that you thought would be like cool to mention or good to note from today?
Yeah, I mean, come out to our events.
And Whoosh Cat happy to.
Yeah.
But yes, please keep going, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, come out to the events we got coming up. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming out, like we were mentioning earlier. I know a lot of people have kind of straggled in ever since we kind of talked about it. We have the Invitational this weekend. We have our 3v3, and then we have our charity event next month as well. So you can find it on our Twitter. We have all those dates as well. I don't remember them off the top of my head.
I got you. So the Invitational is this Sunday, June 22nd. We start at 10 a.m., which means realistically we're starting at like 10:05.
Yep.
That will be 5 Swiss Best of 1, an ASIM cut, and then top cut. July 26th, we have our charity event, a showdown for the Trevor Project.
Yep.
And July 27th, we'll have a 3v3 tournament here, which all should be really fun.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so for my end, I really appreciate you all hanging out. Thank you for coming to join us. It's great to be back and streaming again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now that NEIC is kind of over, we're getting ready for Worlds now, so got a lot of fun kind of planned and a lot of Pokemon to be played still.
Absolutely. And thank you for the support, Llama, and all the llamas that joined us today. So we appreciate you being here. We will see you guys here in just a couple days for Invitational Sunday here at Nerd Rage Gaming.